castles and cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And I'm Alana.
I'm Kelsey.
Bringing the energy today. What's
Woo!
before supper when we are recording? How unusual.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon we have energy and
I have like mental energy. I've been like running around all day, so it really feels good to sit down. Yeah.
I was working earlier, so yeah, it's nice to
Yes.
sit.
Get your steps in.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Just, yeah, some cleaning, some home brewing crap, because we started one of those wine kits we got off a friend of mine, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. We filled up a gigantic, jug. The glass jugs. They're called carboys. It's like a huge one, because we had to put like 21 liters of liquid in. So I forget how many. I think it's like a 6-gallon jug. It's a huge jug. I don't understand gallons
Yeah.
to liters. It's stupid, but you know what?
That's like a drum. You guys have a drum.
Yeah, or like a mini keg. Like Pat and I had to both go walk it over, like to move it
Wow.
from one place to the other to like, yeah. It's gone from primary fermentation to secondary, where it's gonna sit and chill and let out some gases and ferment some more, and
Wow.
I don't know what the heck happens after that, because I've never done a proper wine kit. We've only done the Viking, wild yeast off your raw honey and fruit method.
Yeah.
Which just basically involves a lot of stirring of those ingredients with water until you hear the yeast fairies chittering and bubbling away. It's cool though. It's been fun
Yeah.
to learn.
Yeah, that's
Nothing.
pretty cool.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing yet, per se. Like, I've never made a beer or anything. I know that stuff takes a lot less time. You don't have to wait months to years for it to be, ready and palatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll see. Perhaps people will get some wine for Christmas or maybe next year.
Maybe next. Yeah, that would be
Right?
fun.
I don't know. The first one we're making, it was called the wine kit, the box. It was called Exotic Fruit Wine, Raspberry Merlot. So I'm like, I don't know what this is gonna taste like.
I have no idea, but it made me think of Schitt's Creek.
Right.
Exotic fruit wine. The krababu.
Herblingers.
Blah, 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 blah.
Both of the episodes that surround that one, the one where she's doing the commercial for them or trying to, and the one
Yes.
where they are gonna go there for David's wedding to taste test for the wedding or something. And then they just get really drunk because they're like, oh, all this fruit wine is so disgusting and sweet.
Yes. Oh.
Hopefully it's not
Yeah.
horribly sweet, but you know me. If it's anything other than vinegar, I'll probably just...
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say I'll probably drink it anyway, but they say with wine just to wait a while because the flavors can really mellow out.
Probably. Yeah.
Who knows?
It changes. That's why wine's like aged a lot of times for really long, and people be like, this is a 20-year-old whatever, and you're like, oh my god.
Right? Cheese and wine, they get better with
Yeah.
age. Well, I guess we should tell them what we're talking about this week. This is episode 71.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
Crazy.
71 and having fun. Oh my god.
This will be so much fun, this episode.
Well, we try.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are doing high kill counts / serial killers.
Yeah, the most killerist serial killers around.
Ah, the killiest of the killy.
Yeah.
Yes.
These ain't your 3 or more. This is like double digits, triple digits, maybe. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
which aren't always the most famous ones, which
Yeah.
is, you kind of think that they would be the ones that have killed the most, but somehow it never works out that way. Some must just get more media. I don't know.
I think it's because
Love.
a lot of the
Yeah.
ones we know about are in North America, like primarily in like Canada
Yeah.
or the US.
U.S. serial killers are probably going to be
Yeah.
the most famous, I would say. Everybody knows
Yeah.
Dahmer and Bundy and Gacy and But
Yeah.
they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I think we are not going to the U.S. this week at all, are we?
I'm
not.
not. I'm
Me
in
neither.
Colombia. That's where.
Oh, goddamn. Well, I am also in a country that starts with C. It is one you're probably familiar with. We're in it right now.
Canada?
Yeah. Wait, didn't I tell you who I was doing?
No,
Doesn't
I don't
matter.
think so.
Oh, okay. The listeners don't know.
No.
I am covering the pig farmer, Robert Pickton.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
My mom literally cannot stand anything about, like, you say the words pig farm and this is the first thing she thinks of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor pig farms, to be honest. I love pigs. So.
Yeah.
What? They kind of came out badly on this whole thing. We'll get to it.
Well, no, it's kind of the thing, a starving animal. I mean, like,
You know what? Yeah.
yeah.
It's a method of disposing of bodies, I guess. I don't even really talk about that in my notes
okay.
because that part's just grim. It's all so grim.
It's
I
gonna
don't like
be
to think of pigs like that.
Yeah.
I like to jump in with the pig pens at King's Landing sometimes, even though I probably get my dress too dirty. But like the piglets, not
That's so cute.
jumping in there with a 700-pound mama pig. Like I am.
No.
Yeah, I'm smarter than
cute.
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
it'd be
were
so cute.
God damn it.
Yeah.
They were
they're
cute.
So cute. And you can pick them up.
Yeah, but then like, wasn't there that whole thing where people are like, we'll just get a teacup pig or like a potbelly
yeah.
pig, but then really people don't realize that they don't really exist. Like they always
Yeah.
grow pretty big.
Yeah,
They're
even
being
the smaller
fed.
ones are a few 100 pounds.
Yeah, but that's okay if you can support it. The host of Sinisterhood, I think I told you once, Christy, she has a pig named Petal.
Aw, that's cute.
So I was like, she's in Texas. That's a good environment, I'm sure, for a pig. I'm sure they have enough space and everything. And
Yeah.
whatever, she admits it's not easy, but
No, it's a lot.
well, so I have a fun fact to share with before we get into the grossness.
Okay. Hit me. Oh, it'll be a palate cleanser.
It's I think but before a meal, it's more of an aperitif. Oh God, let's not call this a meal. Okay. Okay, so yeah, fun fact, / something I learned. What was I calling it before? Something I learned on the internet, or usually these days
Something
it's something
like
I
that.
learned on a podcast. Something I learned in the last week. Or two. So I was listening to a Weird Al fan podcast called Beard Al. Really good.
I love
Highly
Weird Al.
recommend. Love Weird Al.
I saw him
was like,
live a
this
few
is for
years
me.
ago. Like,
No,
on
you
a
did not, you bitch.
It was a comedy tour
Damn.
kind of thing. He came to the River Cree. I feel like I enjoyed it significantly
awesome.
more than the rest of my family did, but
Hey, we're the damn right age. He was putting out albums like when I was a little kid and I didn't get all the jokes, but I thought
Yeah.
Jurassic Park came out, and then he does that song about Jurassic Park is frightening in the rain, and the dinosaurs are running wild. Like, oh, that was classic.
I don't know if I ever heard that one.
Yeah. I didn't know the song it was based off, but yeah, it's...
Yeah.
And then it's like, the hook is like, something like, and the dinosaurs get loose, and I'm never coming back here again, oh no! It's like, it's a great hook. Anyway, I know, he's so good. So this was really fun, and I learned that listening to that podcast, and it also has to do, so this is Weird Al is an artist that I really, really liked. Ressa liked too, my sister, but it also involves an artist that's one of her favorite bands, and that's REM. So,
okay.
Yeah, those of you that don't know, like, they do Everybody Hurts, and...
Yeah, Losing My Religion. That's my jam.
Losing My Religion.
That's, like, one of my all-time favorite songs.
Oh, that song still slaps, for sure. As the kids say, no. But, they apparently have had the Weird Al trifecta treatment. So, he does parodies of most people's songs, like a direct parody of the song. Sounds like the song, different lyrics. So he's done a parody of REM. He's done a polka that features, like, a clip from one of their songs. Or, like, in the polka, he's singing kind of quick parodies, you know what I mean? Like a line or two during the polka. Because the polka's the one he does on the accordion. The really fast songs.
Yeah.
And apparently they've also done a pastiche of REM, which is an artistic work in the style that imitates that of another work, artist, or period. Oh shit, I should have looked up. Okay, I can tell you what the songs were, but if you give me a second here.
Sure. That's like the... whatever that award thing is, where somebody has like an Oscars, a Grammy, and like a Tony or something.
Oh, an EGOT, yeah. Yeah, the ultimate Weird Al treatment.
The Weird Al EGOT.
Oh shit, I wonder if I can find it. Parody. Well, what's the parody one they do at least? Weird Al REM parody. Let me at least find that, because now I just feel stupid. Oh, okay, the parody is Spam. Which is it's a parody of the song Stand. It kind of goes like, stand in the place where you live, now face left. It's this weird, like...
Oh.
But they also have... Oh, I know what one of the other ones is. I think they do one, like, that's like Shiny Happy People. Maybe they did a parody of that on the Muppets or something.
Fun.
Definitely, sorry, I don't have all the songs which make up the trifecta, but I thought it was pretty cool that they've been, honored by a Weird Al so many times.
I love Weird Al. He's so great.
You should listen to that podcast. It's called Beard Al, like beer apostrophe D, because they like say what beer they're drinking every episode too, and then they talk about...
And it's just about Weird Al.
It is. They'll
God.
have a guest on. It's the one I was listening to, she had a guest on, and then they were like rating the album Running with Scissors. Wait, yeah.
Nice.
Or they were rating the one that the Jurassic Park song is on.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, it's great, because then you get to be like, oh yeah, I remember this song, and I added a bunch of his songs to my Spotify. I was like, why did I have all these?
The first one I ever heard was White and Nerdy.
Okay.
Look at me,
I love
white
that
and nerdy.
one, yeah. That's funny. Oh my god, that's so much later that when I heard him, because, Jurassic Park came out when I was like 5, and then I heard the parody, like, not too long
it was like
after.
White and Nerdy, and then the Eat It for Michael Jackson's Beat It, and then...
Yes! I fucking love Eat It. That's a good one.
Living in an Amish Paradise was pretty good.
Yes. That's a classic. I think that one has some stigma where they were like, oh, is that the one where he's like LL Cool J's? People say they didn't want him to do it, but he always got permission from all the artists. He's like a gem of a human. I can't wait to see the movie.
Yes.
Sorry.
Daniel Radcliffe.
I literally just remembered about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, when we went and saw him, it was kind of a mix of like, I guess it was like newer stuff he was doing and then stuff that wasn't really parodies. It was like songs he had written that were like almost like a parody about like life. It wasn't about actual like music parodies.
Oh yeah, he definitely has some originals. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? Sorry. Yes, continue. And you made me remember what one of the other REM songs is. So.
Oh, that's all I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. That's right. On the album, the one they did in the pastiche, or the one that was done in the style, I guess, of REM was called Frank's 2000-inch TV. Russell will probably remember it too. It's like Frank's 2000-inch TV. Everyone come and see. I don't know. It's just about like a ridiculously giant TV that's like too big to fit in the guy's like yard or whatever.
Wow. I like it.
Yes.
Makes me think of Barney's like TV wall that they never show in How I Met Your Mother. But they always just have it like scrolling down from the ceiling or whatever, and then it comes on and then everybody like starts squinting because it's so bright.
Oh really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't watch that show, so I didn't. Yeah.
I feel like one day, I don't know, maybe 10 more years from when the finale was, I'll be able to rewatch it. Too many of the characters
removed. Yeah.
Yeah, too many of the characters I just could not stand, but I needed to know what happened, and then yeah.
Yeah, it's because I might have gotten into it if, like, someone had recommended it severely, like you had to do with Parks and Rec and other good ones, The Office. But Pat couldn't stand one of the actor guys. I don't know.
Yeah, it's fair.
The guy with the really dark hair, the curly hair. I can't remember. Yeah. So, he didn't want to watch it. Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the fun we'll have for a while.
No. Wah, wah.
Okay. I can't... Well, I'm glad we had some fun facts. We did have some... We bantered before we started recording, too, so...
Yeah.
We're like, okay, now we gotta knuckle and buckle, as they say on, and that's why we drink.
Yeah, this is gonna be brutal.
Oh dear Lord.
Especially because I know your segment's brutal and I know mine's brutal. It was like, oh shit, this is gonna be real brutal.
It's the hard-hitting true crime week. Yeah. Well, that tracks with this subject. High kill count.
Yeah. Wasn't gonna be all sunshine and rainbows.
No. I'm basically doing arguably the most prolific serial killer in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got... we'll get to it, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the details, but...
Yeah, even though it's actually not too long ago. So this is... he went by, I guess, Willie, so Robert William Willie Picton. Ew.
Ew, I hate the Willie.
The Willie part.
Yeah.
Well, I think especially just knowing who he is, but yeah.
Yeah.
He was born, Picton was born on October 24th, 1949, to parents Leonard and Louise Picton. He grew up in a little town called Port Coquitlam, 27 kilometers east of Vancouver, between Coquitlam and Pitt Meadows.
I know all of those words. I couldn't point to them on a map, but I know the words.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I know the name, and then you're like told, okay, yeah, it's in Vancouver area. Vancouver area is huge, and just all the towns around it are, very populated as well. Mm-hmm. It's LA of the North.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not just because of the movie scene, because of the dark underbelly.
The pig farmers. BC.
Oh.
No.
Right. Okay, so they had an older sister Linda, which I didn't know about, and I was sensing a bit of a theme with the names once we got to know there was Leonard and Louise as the parents and now Linda. But then we have Robert and then David.
Aww.
Yeah.
Not a Leroy and Leonard.
A Luke. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, um, we're kind of the opposite with us kids when you think about it. Well, there's only three of us, but my oldest sibling is Daniel. So we start with the D, and then you end with two A's, almost like because
Yeah.
Ressa's technically Aressa, and then Alana. So it's like, okay, then we had a D and two A names.
Da!
Da, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you guys just have two kids, so there's just no Kardashian going on. There's no
Yeah.
repeats, is there at all in your parents' names?
So they did it with middle names. So
Ah.
my dad is Donald, my mom is Donna, my brother's middle name is
right.
Dale, and my middle name is Dawn.
Okay, so the D's carried down.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
in the
cute.
middle names. Yeah.
I like that. So yeah, they had an older sister, Linda, but she was sent to live with relatives in Vancouver, because apparently a farm was just not an appropriate place for a girl to grow up.
Boo. But I mean, also kind of great because she's not growing up on the farm, but still.
Yeah, I just put, oh, how inappropriate it will get.
Yeah, that farm specifically, she didn't want to grow up on.
But you know, it made me wonder if to have another female around wouldn't have been a good influence, but you'll see maybe once I get to describing the mother a little bit, maybe why I say that. Cause yeah, Robert and brother David were first forced by their mother to work long hours on the farm, and she would often have them prioritize the farm over school. So like they'd work on the farm and then they would just have to go to school in their dirty, unlaundered clothes covered in manure.
Yeah, that's sucky.
Yeah, definitely don't love that. I already feel a little bit of pity for them.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they got bullied for smelling like pig shit.
Yeah.
Like, duh. But somehow sources seem to say he was close to his mother, so I don't know what she was really like with the boys.
I mean, working on the
basis.
family farm and prioritizing that over school probably wasn't that crazy of a thing in like the 40s and 50s as it would be seen today. So
That is true. Yeah. Yeah, because you had in the century before that, people like not going to school when it was time to harvest and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, they definitely got bullied, and the father seemed to take sort of a back seat when it came to parenting the boys, so he's not really mentioned much, even though he's in the picture, so to
Okay.
speak. Yeah. Another not so fun fact: as a child, Robert admitted to hiding in the, and I quote, carcasses of large hogs to avoid being found.
I mean, there's better places to hide. That's so
My
gross.
face just, yeah,
Ah.
just like doing these squeaky faces, waiting for you to react.
I'm just sitting here like staring at the wall going, no.
Yeah, face just scrunches up in disgust.
Yeah.
I can't see her, guys. We're not on the Zoom. But
Yeah.
I want to get it back. Kelsey's faces are the best. But this reminded me totally of Star Wars, because there's the
Yes,
part when-
as
on
soon
Hoth.
as you said it, I
He's
was
so
gonna make
cold.
a joke.
That
And
he's
then
in yeah. Oh fuck, he has to get into a tauntaun. That's what it is.
yeah.
Like a sleeping bag. I mean, go ahead, make the joke if you had one ready.
No, because I didn't know what the animal was called and I didn't know who did
Yes.
it. I just knew that
Yes.
somebody did.
Yeah, Luke did it because he was gonna freeze to death if he didn't lightsaber open that tauntaun.
I mean, that's one thing, but this is different.
yes. Yeah, this is not such an extreme situation that he
No.
is like his life depends on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
No. So Robert Pickton had also bought a pet calf with his own money, I guess, as a teen, early teen or whatever, and he loved this little cow.
So that's kind of cute.
It is until one day he gets home from school and doesn't see his calf anywhere. He asks his mother where it is, and she says to check the barn, which he does, only to find that they had slaughtered it without telling him.
So rude.
I was just like, woof. Yeah, that's awful. He never got over it either, and he would like tell people about it for years afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, well, like at that point, it's almost a pet, you know?
Yeah.
And then you come home and it's dead. Like, jeez. So he did lag behind in school and was not popular with the ladies, not surprisingly, I guess.
Yeah.
One article said that his personal hygiene was the stuff of Poco legend, both in school and afterwards.
Well,
I guess
I
Poco
mean,
being Coquitlam. Yeah.
with people that work in like fast food, they say you can't get rid of the smell of like the deep fryer or whatever, and it's like, yeah, well, like try getting rid of
True.
the smell of manure when it's in all of your clothes because you live on a farm.
That's true. That's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's just in the air all around you all the time.
Yeah, and I think that was definitely part of it. And I
Yeah.
wonder if David had it as bad.
Yeah.
Because they seem to, yeah, this is where they're like, oh, it's David. Or what, you know, obviously the articles were focused on him. But yeah, I just wonder if it was both of them. And then if this other fact didn't have to do with it, that I'll get to in just one moment. But first I had to say how when he carried this, like he was carrying this miasma of stink with him into his adulthood, like after, you know, getting out of school and graduating.
Yeah.
And it just brought the picture in my mind of the guy from the Peanuts cartoon. And then I looked it up because I was like, was that Linus or was that some other guy? And I was like, oh, right, his name was Pigpen.
Oh, yeah.
And he's always pictured with like a stink cloud or like, you know, like almost like bugs going around him. It's like, oh my god, he's literally Pigpen.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible.
I know, I shouldn't, but I did. Okay. This was also a thing. He was apparently deathly afraid of the shower. So, for some odd reason, his mother insisted that he only take baths, so he would never take a shower.
I mean, at least he's bathing.
I know, yeah, it's not like he has some sort of disorder that makes him afraid of water. It's the
Yeah.
showering. And what is his mother telling him that he's afraid of a shower?
Yeah, that's weird.
So bizarre. He had one friend that would tell him that, like, dude, you gotta kind of bathe, or like, I can't even be around you. And then he would, like, laugh and go take a bath or whatever.
Yeah, he's probably nose blind at this point.
Probably nose blind. Oh my god, that reminds me of those Febreze commercials
Yeah.
they used to.
It happens.
Nose blind.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I'll be like doing up and I'll get my garbage ready, you know, take the garbage out, and then it'll have been in your house for how many days and you can't smell
Oh.
anything. And then you walk it like outside and then you come back into your house and you're like, what's that smell? It's like, oh, it was the garbage I just took outside. Thank you.
Yes, especially now that our city started making you take out the garbage and the food compost separate, which is good, but then you have to remember to change the food compost frequently or else it stinks to high heaven.
I can't use it because, so it was good the first little while, it was fine. But now Gordo, as soon as I put anything in there, he constantly opens it and then takes everything out. He's like obsessed
You
with
can
it.
open it?
Yes, as soon as he knows even there's like a tiny thing in there, It doesn't even have to be smelling bad, nothing. He's over there like 2 minutes later and he's whipping it off the counter and like throwing it on the floor. Yeah.
Oh my god. What if you put something heavy on it? I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shit. He's such a little bugger sometimes.
Right? Ugh. I mean, I watched him one day roll a 10-pound, like, handheld, like, dumbbell, like, on the floor. I watched him roll it over so that he could open a cupboard because it was shoved against the cupboard so he couldn't open it. And I watched him just roll it so it would roll a few notches over so he could open the cupboard. And I was like, fuck you. How can you open 10 pounds with your little arm? Like, it's just like, look, I'm working out. Like,
yeah, they've got to have some muscles. Yeah, they can jump so damn high.
Yeah.
Too funny. They're a pain sometimes.
Yeah.
So, Brother David, as we mentioned, was around, and he had his own sort of incident, or I don't know what else to call it. But when he got his driver's license, he was driving his dad's truck on October 16th, 1967. And around 7:40 p.m., David struck a 14-year-old neighbor boy, Tim Barrett, who was walking down the side of the road.
That's terrible.
Yeah, not great. I did not know this when I started looking into this. No other details are given about how it happened, but we do know now what happened next. David went home to tell his mother, told her what happened, and she came back with him to the scene of the crime. She basically bent down to the child, Tim Barrett, well, 14-year-old, but whatever, he's a child, and then she proceeded to roll and push him into a nearby ditch about 10 feet away.
Wow. The mom is, like, equally bad. I don't like her.
That's insane.
Yeah,
like,
she's terrible.
You can just imagine. This woman is raising you, and she has no morals or scruples.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I know. She turned around and went home again. So David drove to a mechanic, scared that someone would see the damage to his vehicle and know it was him. Like, I think he had an actual conscience.
Yeah.
He seemed to understand that was wrong. Yeah. He got the dent in the bumper fixed and the broken turn signal repaired. But the mechanic refused to patch up the paint job. And this might be because, from what I read, it was painted all over with red house paint.
Okay, that's fair.
I know! They're just cheap. Like, I don't know, you have to repaint your truck and you're like, I can't afford a mechanic, I'll just buy house paint and see what happens.
I mean, I heard somewhere that's why barns and everything are red, is because it was the cheapest paint. Isn't that what they say?
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it was like something like that, but that doesn't really make sense to me because they just add the color to it, so wouldn't white be the cheapest paint? But anyway. Because then they don't have to add anything to it. I don't know.
Maybe now.
Yeah.
But I could think of, like, when they had to actually make a couple centuries ago, and you're like, I can't dye a piece of clothing at this bright color unless I can find a plant that exists that's the same color. Yeah. Like, indigo was actually a plant and a color, because they were all the... I don't know. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
Wow, Kelsey coming in with her fun facts of the day.
Yeah.
I love it. Or sometimes they call it I listen to the Office Ladies pod for, they're Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey from The Office, and they'll call it Fast Facts. They'll bring in some fast facts of the day.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're not always fun, so right. Well, no, ours aren't always fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that happened. And meanwhile, the parents of Tim, Philip, and Lois Barrett were frantically searching for and calling around for their son, about their son, rather. Then, yeah. The next day, as Philip Barrett and a neighbor searched the road, they spotted Tim's shoe. They walked over to the... I called it a ditch because I have a hard time with the word they used. Like a slough or a slough. You know that word? Slough. It's like a ditch, I guess. But it was kind of swampy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was about 10 feet away from the road. And that's where they saw Tim, like, face down in these kind of swampy waters. So the cause of death was actually drowning.
Oh, jeez, he was still alive?
Yeah.
That's so terrible.
I know.
What is wrong with this family? And the mom?
She's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you could deliberately do that to someone that you don't know is even gonna die. Like, just to preserve your own child. Like,
wow.
Yeah, so apparently he had significant injuries such as, quote, a fractured skull with subcranial hemorrhage and a fractured dislocated pelvis, end quote.
Jeez. He was hit hard then. They were going fast.
Exactly. It was not good, but the pathologist believes those injuries were not inherently fatal and he could have been treated if just brought to a hospital.
Jeez. That's terrible.
I know. For some reason that reading that part of the article made me want to know, because they said pathologist, and I was like, oh, okay, is that the same as like the coroner? Because this is where my mind goes when I'm trying not to think about all the horrible parts of the information, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I have a fast, fun fact that explains the difference. Forensic pathologists have a set of overlapping duties with coroners about finding the true causes of death, but forensic pathologists are able to perform medical operations, while coroners may specialize in the legal paperwork and law enforcement side of death.
Oh.
From Northwest Career College. So I think to be a coroner, from what I read, don't even necessarily have to have a huge medical background. You can be like an attorney. And if they need to have a full forensic pathologist, like do a full autopsy, you know what I mean? If they need more of the medical side, they like call in someone. So sometimes they work... Yeah, I was like, okay, so like they said they have overlapping duties, but they're not the same necessarily.
That makes sense.
I don't know. Interesting to me. But yeah, that was how Timothy Frederick Barrett, born February 13th, 1953, was killed. He was only in grade 8 when he died.
Jeez.
And I think of it now as like the Picton family's first kill, because that was at least manslaughter.
Yeah.
If it had gone to court, it could have been vehicular manslaughter. Like, it didn't say if maybe he was doing something like drinking and driving. Like, we just don't know. A report was filed by the coroner, including the serious injuries that were very likely caused by a hit and run, although they couldn't know for sure. But eventually, after an investigation was concluded, the mechanic was questioned. Eventually, a charge was laid, and David was sent to juvenile court.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was glad that it didn't just get completely swept under the rug.
Yeah. At least they figured out who did it, though, too.
Right? Like, I'm glad they did an investigation, which they had every right to when that suspicious thing happens. And then, they did their due diligence, and he was sent to juvenile court, but of course, because of laws that protect juveniles. Like, the record is sealed, so we don't know anything else. Yeah. Other than the mother, Louise, was never charged. But the story still spread slowly through the town, seeping into the public conscious like honey filling up the nooks and crannies on an English muffin. To like my editorializing.
Yeah.
My artistic liberties. Yeah. I was really trying to paint a picture there. So, when their parents died in the 1970s, Robert and David took over the farm. As far as I know, David didn't take any butchering training, but I know that Robert had gone to school a bit for that, which I clearly didn't write down in my notes because I don't remember mentioning that already. But yeah, they obviously were both like well trained in working the farm and whatnot, so they just took over it. And he and his brother registered a non-profit charity that they called, get ready, the Piggy Palace Good Times Society.
What?
In 1996, yes. The Piggy Palace Good Times Society.
The fuck does that mean?
I don't think these boys are very bright.
No.
They could clearly never make a sentence talking about things filling up the nooks and crannies on an English muffin. They couldn't do a metaphor like that. Okay, so this was their claim, that the charity's purpose was to organize, coordinate, manage, and operate special events, functions, dances, shows, and exhibitions on behalf of service organizations, sports organizations, and other worthy groups.
And other organizations.
Right?
How many times can I use the word organization?
Oh, yeah, because, yeah, service organizations, sports organizations, I don't know.
Yeah.
I might have put an extra comma in because there were so many organizations I was getting confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound like when someone's lying and then they just keep adding more details.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be operating on their farm?
Yeah.
That's so weird. Nobody wants to hold a special event on a smelly pig farm. I'm sorry.
No, you wouldn't think so. But this was just their excuse to host these crazy, like, parties, wild parties. Some articles said, like, raves. And they were all held in a converted slaughterhouse on the property.
I mean, drunk teenagers want to get drunk anywhere if they can. So, like...
Right? Yeah, it could have been people like that. They also said that a lot of sex workers and Hell's Angels and other groups attended.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
I'm sure, exactly.
They love a pig roast. My dad's been to plenty.
Country parties can be fun and rowdy.
I love a bonfire, okay? I just love fires.
Oh.
Anyway.
We do love fires.
Yeah. Couple of pyros.
I know. My family always makes me sound like I want to burn the house down. For
Same. They're just like, oh, Kelsey's got fire. She wants to have a campfire.
And then Pat's like, I don't want to smell like fire because I had to have so many fires when I was in the army. And I'm like, fuck off. I'm sure there's lots of people that still like to camp even after they've been in the army. You don't like it and you don't like the smell of the wood smoke. And I love the smell.
Yeah, I want to smell like sandalwood. Anyway.
Yeah, so neighbors would often complain about the rowdy guests and noisy parties, and by 2000 it would get shut down. And in March of 1997, so March 23rd of 1997, a significant event happened with the attempted murder of Wendy Lynn Eisdetter. She was at the Picton farm when Robert Pickton attempted to handcuff her, and she fought back. She actually grabbed a butcher knife, and in the ensuing struggle, they both received stab wounds.
Oh, wow. At least she got him a couple times, too.
I literally wrote, she took a stab at it anyway.
Terrible.
It's so bad. Okay. But thankfully, like, this is incredible. She was able to run for it, make it to the road, and flag down a passing vehicle.
Wow.
Crazy badass. They called 911 and she was taken by ambulance to the hospital. While she was in surgery at the Royal Columbian Hospital in New Westminster, Picton had gotten himself to the exact same hospital and was being treated in another room.
Oh my god, no. It's like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, she's like, the fucking killer that I'm trying to run from is now here. Well, she doesn't know that, but they are going to figure it out. Because they found a key in his pocket that fit her handcuffs that she was still, like, at least wearing one of, that he had tried to cuff her in. Yeah, isn't that crazy? They're like, their stories. Like, his story was obviously different. He said that, I think I had this a little further down, but he said that she was a hitchhiker who attacked him.
So I handcuffed her.
I don't know, right? Yeah.
I mean, not that it hasn't happened, but...
Who knows? Yeah, that was his story, and she obviously was trying to tell the truth and say that she was on his farm and got handcuffed. So he was then arrested and charged with attempted murder, assault with a weapon, and forcible confinement.
Good.
Yay, we say. But wait, it's not the end. Of course. That would be too little for me. That would be only like, what, 4 pages?
Yeah. I already said this episode. I think I text you. I'm like, this episode's gonna be long because my thing is long. And it's like, well, when you're dealing with like high kill counts of serial killers and stuff like that, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, it's not going to be short. They weren't active for a short amount of time, and they're not usually caught in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. We love the long ones. The charges were unfortunately soon stayed, as they call it, and then eventually dropped because the victim was not considered a reliable witness.
Aw, that's terrible.
I know, because this was just based on her drug addiction. That's all.
Aw.
Yeah.
Just because somebody's addicted to drugs doesn't mean they're lying about being attacked, especially when they show up to the hospital with handcuffs on and stab wounds.
That match a guy that also has stab wounds, right?
And then the
like,
knife,
it's a he said, she said.
The key to your handcuffs is in his pocket. Like, what the hell? Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, and so because you've been known to be on drugs before, like, you're always perpetually on drugs and, always high and never know what's going on. Like, no. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah,
there was definitely some problems in the investigation, which we will talk about. So he said she was a hitchhiker, and that was basically the end of that one. For years, Picton would frequently head to Vancouver's downtown East Side district, where there was a rendering plant for disposing of waste animal parts, like fat.
Ew.
Stuff. Yeah, because he had a pig farm, though, so it didn't raise any red flags, I guess. And I don't know if that was pig and human remains, but he was obviously disposing of them somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The earliest murder that is speculated to be connected with the case but not confirmed was Diana Melnick, who went missing in December 1995. The most recent victim was Mona Wilson, last seen in November 2001.
Wow. It's like 6 years, at least.
Right. Yeah, he was busy during that time. Sadly, because of transients, lifestyles of the denizens of the downtown east side, that it could be harder to, and was harder to pinpoint when and where people were last seen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, no 9 to 5 job, picking up the
Yeah.
kids at school. Yeah.
On the move.
Yeah, it doesn't help the investigation. But doesn't mean they had no shot. They cited examples in some articles like the disappearance of Sherry Rail in 1984, which was not even reported for 3 whole years, according to the Canadian Encyclopedia article.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I forgot I put the source in the sentence. Also in 1984, the RCMP set up a team to investigate missing and murdered women, especially sex workers, but that one disbanded after just 2 years due to a lack of progress.
Well, doesn't mean it's not a worthy cause.
A
Jeez.
QI roll, exactly. I was like, what the fuck?
There's been a lack of progress. Doesn't mean we should work harder. It means we should just disband and give up.
Just give up. We can't catch all the murderers, so we should just stop trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, sex workers saw the increase in disappearances and did everything they could think of to increase their own personal security, like walking the streets in groups, yeah, and noting
Yeah.
down license plate numbers even.
Yeah. They kind of check in with each other.
Yeah. Everything they can. They're like, we know something's up.
Yeah.
Whether everyone else wants to admit it. The police seemed to be initially rather reluctant to say that a serial killer was behind these missing women. They put it down to possible drug overdoses and people moving away to explain some of it.
Which, I mean, can happen, but still.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not going to be all of them. And I was like, well, who moves when you don't have a house? Like, some of them might have been unhoused or whatever we're calling it these days, you know? Like, the Vancouver Sun, the paper, was a huge supporter of sex workers, calling for action and accusing police of not prioritizing the crimes of these marginalized people. Yay for them. They cited a certain reluctance from the police to employ newer investigative techniques, such as psychological criminal profiling and geoprofiling.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know exactly when that's, I know profiling kind of came about. We all kind of know with the serial killer terminology and stuff. I mean, that was what, the 70s with the FBI?
I think so.
So, I mean, it was still new.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was worth mentioning, I thought. And obviously, to most Canadians, there's a glaring problem in Canada with the whole kind of missing white girl syndrome and the downplaying of the many missing and murdered Indigenous girls and women. Yeah, huge problem here. We could probably do a whole series on the Highway of Tears. You know, the portion of the Yellowhead Highway between Prince Rupert and Prince George in BC, which is sadly kind of named after the Trail of Tears in America, when the many Native Americans were moved out of their home and so many died along the way. So now that's what they named this one after, because so many women have died on it. The whole case eventually contributed to a national government inquiry in 2016. So, I mean, eventually we started to do a little better looking into the problems.
It's crazy that it had to become a national thing across Canada, though. Not even just in BC.
Exactly. Like, start local.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I thought about including a picture because there was like an art installation. They showed a picture of it, Seaforth Peace Park in Vancouver. Part of the Red Dress Project or Redress Project. Like, people were hanging, or the artist was hanging red dresses from trees and stuff, like each one representing a murdered or missing Indigenous woman. And I was like, wow, that's really, I don't know, it's a really stark way to like visually put it out there. I thought that was pretty cool. But I forgot to put a picture on, so I'm sorry. Yeah. Picture, a red dress hanging from a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so by spring of 1997, 2 years after the attempted murder of the Wendy that we talked about, an informant told the police that they should speak to a woman named Lynn Ellingson, who happened to be a single mother who was addicted to drugs. And she supposedly had seen a woman's body hanging in the Picton slaughterhouse, like a piece of meat.
Oh.
Yeah. Like a carcass, basically. But when first questioned by police, the woman was scared and denied the story. I mean, I can't really blame her.
Yeah.
Right? And later that year, a former worker at the farm, Bill Hiscox, told the RCMP about another strange sight on the property. This story was related to him by Lisa Yelds, a friend of Picton's, and she had apparently seen women's clothing, purses, and ID cards at the farm.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sign there's something going on.
Like, I can't believe he has friends that are women, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it's like, yeah, they're not dumb. They're going to notice that you have, like, what? You don't have a girlfriend, yet you have all these fucking, like, panties at your farm or purses. I don't know. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, this was considered purely hearsay, as it was not a direct account from the person who saw the alleged evidence at the house. So it was not enough to warrant a search warrant.
I mean, it should be. If you have officers and you have the time, just send somebody out. Like,
I know. I wonder if it's because...
Just send somebody to knock on their door and take a look around. You don't need a search warrant to knock on somebody's door and then just say...
like, talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I just wonder if it's because of people getting burned in the past by being like, oh, I heard that this person said, and then they're like, that person didn't say anything. But yeah, you'd still think you could check it out, especially after this is like the second tip you've had.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of murdered and missing women, you think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all kind of adding up. So they apparently required either an eyewitness report of criminal activity or the existence of physical evidence. In 2001, the Vancouver Police and the RCMP formed a joint task force called Project Even-Handed to investigate specifically the downtown East Side disappearances.
Even-handed? That sounds weird. That's a weird project name. I mean, eventually you gotta run out of project names, right? I feel like.
Yeah. It's like, what are you supposed to call this one that's going to sound respectful? I don't know, but I was just like, finally. Project Finally.
Yeah.
Then in February 20... Wait. Sorry, that should probably say 2002, but it says 2022, because obviously I was typing too fast.
Not this year.
Well, you know how it is. You're so used to, like, typing the year you're in. Yeah. But no, this definitely was not this year. They got a break when Scott Chubb, another former employee of the Picton brothers, told police he had seen illegal weapons on the property. Oh my god, I wrote drugs. What is wrong with me? It was weapons.
It was weapons. Okay.
Yes. And just like that, they were in, finally.
Finally.
I'm like, and just like that, finally, they were in.
Yeah.
Robert Pickton was arrested on weapons charges, released on bail, but kept under surveillance while the police thoroughly searched his property.
Good. They found a shit ton of bodies. Or I guess didn't find.
Yeah, they found some interesting things. They found unregistered guns, women's accessories like clothing, purses, jewelry, and a puffer or asthma inhaler prescribed to Serena Abbotsway, one of the missing women from the east side. Then they found blood in a motorhome on the property, and DNA tests proved it was Mona Wilson's. I literally wrote 2022 again. Okay.
Oh no!
On February 22nd, 2002.
It's because there's too many twos. It's 0222.
I know!
02. That's too many twos.
Do you remember when we went to Vegas and we were there on February 22nd, 2022, and everybody was getting married because it was such a cool numerology date. And now all those people have the same anniversary of when he got arrested. Not that they know that. Yes.
I mean, it's still a good day.
It's good. It's good. I know. I even was like, does 2 mean something in numerology? But, you know, it more has to do with adding up the letters in your name. And then if that ends up a 2, then you're a 2. So I was like, this doesn't really apply. I'm leaving it out. It's not relevant. But yes, he was rearrested and charged with 2 counts of murder.
2 counts? Boo.
Because of the DNA and the puffer, I think.
Lame.
But he would eventually be charged with 26.
Jeez.
There's a lot of victims here. It's complicated how many he's actually charged with, but
yeah.
I have a little bit more on that, but I'm almost done too. So stay with us. I did read a little bit about the transcript of the actual interview when he was taken into custody at that time with a Sergeant Bill 40. Yeah, I thought it was cool. Interesting. I didn't read the whole thing, but yeah, it's just so weird to get that like fly on the wall kind of look with someone talking with this killer. Because it just starts out like, you know, you got something to drink out there, you got something, you got some juice, and then Picton's like, yeah, I got some OJ. And then like Bill 40, the sergeant, is like, is it okay if I call you Rob? And he's like, yeah. And then the
slaps on the table, why'd you fucking kill these women?
Yeah, he totally switches. No, he's doing more the good cop. He's trying to... Because if you're hostile with them, I think you're
couldn't do that.
Not to be hostile with them. Well, people shut down. That's not always a good tactic. And no, I couldn't either.
Give me some sharp things. Torture them. I don't care.
You can't torture them with your words.
You can torture them with Barney.
With
Endless Barney.
That's funny.
No, the Baby Shark song.
Oh
Baby
no.
Shark, do, Mama Shark, do.
Okay, you're gonna make me think of Wine and Crime got a review that said something like, they probably play this on repeat on Guantanamo Bay.
Oh shit.
It's torture. Yeah. They took it pretty well. And they just laughed it off. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he's asked, do you understand what you're, like, charged with? This murder of these 2 women? And he just kind of replies, like, that's what they tell me.
Yeah, I guess if you're, like, you can argue if you're so severely undereducated that you don't understand what you're being charged with. Kind of thing.
Yeah. He's weird. He just seems so flippant, because I did watch a video of a part that's coming up, and I was just like, you just seem to, like, not care. So get this. Yeah, to that point, when he's told there's potentially as many 50 missing women or, like, sex workers, or he says workers or something, Picton just starts laughing, basically, and giggling.
Jeez.
And then he just says, hogwash.
Oh, fuck you. Hey, don't bring
also,
the pigs
like,
into this.
Ba-dum-bump. Hogwash.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We should have left the pigs out of it.
Leave the fucking pigs out of it. They're smart. Animals smarter than you are. He barely registers that he has just spoken to a lawyer. After getting off the phone with her, the sergeant asks, "Who was that on the phone?" And Picton says, "Some lady, I guess. Lady." Forty goes, "Oh, do you know her name?" Picton says, "Not offhand." And Forty says, "Do you know it was a lawyer?" And Picton says, "Yeah." And Forty goes, "How do you know it was a lawyer?" And Picton says, "Because I was talking to her yesterday."
Okay. He's so weird. I don't get him.
I was like, you're just, yeah, just socially awkward as fuck.
Yeah. Stop answering a question with another question.
Yeah. Oh, just a girl, just talking to a lady.
Talking to my girlfriend, she's a lawyer.
Oh.
We're gonna get married.
Oh no. I don't think anybody has ever tried to marry this guy. Have you seen pictures of him? I mean, he is not attractive. He was being held then in the Surrey jail, and then, unbeknownst to him, he was sharing a cell with an undercover RCMP officer.
Love it.
Yeah, I know.
They should always do this.
To do this. I know. I think it's a law in Canada. We're allowed to, I don't know. You're allowed to trick the people in some ways legally, which is great. Because certainly criminals are tricking their victims.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying stuff inside of a jail. You have to at least assume it's being recorded.
Right.
And then who's to say there isn't like a camera in there recording you and the inmate, the other person in the cell, isn't a cop? Like,
this is exactly the part I was watching on video, and it was so gross. Yeah. So he tells this cellmate that he murdered 49 women, and he only wishes it had been 50.
Is it bad that that was my thought? It was like, oh damn, he's probably upset it wasn't 50.
No, I think it's normal. I feel like, I thought there was a couple killers that actually said that. I tried to search it because I was like, wasn't that Israel Keys? But no, he only had 6 or a few confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just have this weird number they want to get to.
Yeah,
even chessboard killer too.
Okay, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah,
yes.
One for each square.
So 64. We still need to cover him. I thought about it. I haven't yet. But yeah, he was just very smug about it. So gross. And the farm now became the biggest crime scene in Canadian history.
Gross.
Right?
And poor pigs. I'm sure they all had to get killed, immediately.
Do you think so?
Yeah, if they had consumed, people in any way, they have to kill, other animals and stuff that have consumed human flesh like that. Yeah.
Actually, I didn't rate anything on that part. Damn.
I'm sure they had to, because if they found, body parts in the pig pens, they would have to know if the pigs ate them or not.
Yeah. The Canadian Encyclopedia, that was one of the biggest sources I went to. It had a lot of good cold hard facts and shit, and I just remembered hearing about the feeding to the pigs a lot with the rumors of it. I couldn't, you know what I mean, find anything in the main sources about them getting fed to the pigs, or then the pigs getting fed to other people, cops or whatever. I couldn't find any concrete on that.
So we could have been just disposing of them with the pig, other parts like that place you talked about.
Perhaps. Although Pat said something to me that something about when somebody saw parts or a carcass or whatever hanging up in the thing, and they knew it was a human and not an animal because the color of the fat is even different in humans than it is it's more yellow or something. And I was like, oh. So I don't know if he could have gotten away with trying to pass off human remains as animals. Maybe he fed all the remains to the pigs, because don't pigs just eat all of it?
Yeah, they will.
Bones.
If my knowledge from watching the Hannibal TV show is right.
Yeah.
Because he does it, Mason Verger, I think his name is.
Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, he has the pig farm. And then he's talking about like a certain type of pig, and if you starve them enough, they'll eat anything, and then their teeth or whatever are strong enough that they can chew through bone.
Oh,
So,
how cruel. Then you gotta starve the pigs, too.
yeah.
Jesus. Alright. I know this one's heavy. I'm almost done. They took 200,000 DNA samples and seized 600,000 exhibits, whatever that means.
Gee, I think that's just like items.
Right, I would guess.
Objects.
Archaeologists and forensic experts used heavy equipment to dig through 383,000 cubic yards of soil.
Wow.
Excuse me, I know. The estimated cost was $70 million.
Holy shit.
Right? No wonder it's the biggest Canadian crime scene.
Yeah.
Then it eventually went to trial. It took some time due to amount of evidence.
Yeah, I was gonna say this 600,000 articles and 200,000 DNA swabs.
Right? I think that would have taken the most. But
Yeah.
things said like legal issues and stuff. So I was like, okay. And complexity. I was like, sure. I'm sure there was some red tape involved with that many pieces of evidence and things.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But the trial didn't begin until almost 5 years after the arrest on the 22nd of January 2007.
Wow.
Yeah. He went on trial in December 2007 and was found guilty on all 6 counts was what they brought of second-degree murder. 6 because I understand or assume they had the most strong cases for these ones, like the most hard evidence. Yeah,
that's
the bodies fair. Or whatever. Yeah.
So
if
you bring in DNA. Too many and it's all or nothing, then you could lose on all of them.
I think that's the risk for sure. Because eventually 26 victims were identified plus 1 Jane Doe body. So that would still leave like almost 25 missing, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, never recovered, and they decided against going on trial with the other 20 identified victims, mainly because he had gotten the maximum penalty under Canadian law already.
Which is fair, because I mean, at that point, you are kind of just wasting time and taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, and some families were happy about not having to go through it again, but others were angry. So, you can't please everybody, I guess.
I think if somebody like murdered a family member of mine, I don't think I would care, maybe necessarily if they were charged with it or not, if they were already in prison.
Yeah.
For the same type of crimes. I don't think I'd care specifically if like that name was added to the list. It's not like that person isn't going to get justice. Like,
and it's hard to know, because obviously we've never, thankfully, been in that situation.
Yeah.
But... yeah, I think it said he got max like 25 years, no possibility of parole, like, which
that's not
apparently was the harshest. Yeah,
it should be a lot harsher than that. I
know it doesn't sound like that long, but he's still in there. He is not out. I don't think he's getting out.
That's good.
So, just in the aftermath, in 2010, there was a provincial government inquiry conducted. And by December 2012, the Missing Women Commission of Inquiry released its final report called Forsaken.
Ooh, that's a good name.
I know! That one's way more chilling!
Yeah, I'm like, they should have been Operation Forsaken.
Yeah, in 2006.
Not whatever the fuck it was. Even whatever.
Even-handed.
Ugh, terrible.
Yeah. So blatant failures was their verdict on the police side of things. They concluded that prejudices probably played a factor with
Yeah.
the victims. Yeah. They called it a tragedy of epic proportions. Sorry.
Yeah, only like in the last, I'd say 5 years and stuff, have we got better about like sex workers and trying to better protect them and stuff like that. So the like just past the year 2000, I can imagine how bad it would have been back then. Like,
yeah, I was just talking about this earlier this week, how North America's very prudish. We're like, ooh, sex. We only like allude to that. We don't talk about it.
yeah.
God forbid someone like does it for a job or anything,
Right?
related
They say
to
it's
that.
the oldest occupation, and it probably is, like, I don't know, if they ever figure out a percentage, I'd be shocked, like, or I probably wouldn't be surprised around the world, like, the percentage of people that are or have been sex workers at some point in their lives.
Right?
And
yeah,
it's, like,
it's totally expanding with the internet, too.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I feel like mine's going on. Okay.
It's not too bad.
They made 63 specific recommendations, including the forming of a greater Vancouver regional police force for more effective, less fragmented police cooperation. So just, kind of bringing in the surrounding areas, I guess. They asked for funding for women's shelters and compensation for the children of the murdered and missing women. So that's good.
Yeah.
The Vancouver Police Department did implement many changes after the missing persons unit was made a regular part of the police department, and investigations must begin without delay. Family is updated regularly on the case and informed before any press releases or info is given to the media.
That's good.
Yeah, that's really good. And finally, this sounds like should be a given, but the case file is kept open until the person is located.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, yeah, that should probably have always happened, even if you don't know if you're ever going to find them. Like,
right?
Somebody might after you die.
Yeah, because then there's always such this, like, bullshit about, well, it's a closed case. Yeah, but it's unsolved. Like, but it's closed.
Or yeah, it's even if it's cold, like it shouldn't be closed. Yeah, exactly.
I don't care about your solve right, okay? Get the fuck out of here.
No! Don't give a shit how you look. You should look like you're wanting to do your job, which most of them do.
Yes.
So David, Robert's brother, has always denied any involvement or knowledge of the crimes at the farm. Don't know what I think about that.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I know how I feel about the mom. I don't know how I feel about him.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if either of them really had much of a chance. They both seem pretty
I don't think
fucked
so.
up.
Yeah.
It hasn't stopped families of some of the victims filing lawsuits against both both of the Picton's brothers. Sorry. And the police. And David filed a statement of defense denying involvement, but still I know that 9 families filed civil lawsuits, so not through the criminal court.
Mm-hmm.
But don't know what happened with them. They probably would have settled at a court maybe, and we wouldn't know anyway.
Yeah.
I did read that a woman kind of came out of the woodwork, so to speak, around the time to accuse David of a sexual assault in the 90s. Saying he threatened to kill and rape her while at a construction site in Burnaby, BC.
Okay.
I mean, clearly he's not completely a glowing innocent figure. Yeah. The police and the RCMP have both publicly apologized for not catching Picton sooner. I don't know what happened to the property other than it was partially owned by their sister Linda, so maybe she's
burned it to the ground.
Yeah.
I would have just doused it in gasoline and, like, fucking burned it down.
Yeah, you wouldn't want anything to do with that place.
No.
Even if you were allowed to have it back. Maybe you're not. In 2018, Robert Pickton was transferred to Port Cartier Institution in Quebec, a maximum security penitentiary about 600 kilometers northeast of Quebec City.
Oh, wow. He got to go across Canada. Road trip.
He's farther away from us now. Yay.
Yeah. He's not next door.
No. He's not in our city, like, ugh, Twitchell dude.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Mark Twitchell.
Wherever he is, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a documentary from 2011 called The Pig Farm, which I haven't seen, but I might watch. And we're going to end it with the real people that matter, and that's his victims. So, he was known to have killed and convicted of the killing of Marnie Frey, Mona Wilson, Andrea Josbury, Serena Abbotsway, Brenda Wolfe, and Georgina Papin.
Okay.
Deep breath. He was suspected of killing Janet Hendry, Mary Ann Clark, Diana Melnick, Carrie Louise Ellis, Tanya Holick, Andrea Borhaven, Sherry Irving, possibly of the Irving family in Canada. They're very rich.
Oh,
Helen Hallmark. Could be another rich one. I don't know. Of the Hallmark family?
Of the greeting card dynasty?
Right? Cynthia Felix, Carrie Koski, Inga Hall, Sarah Jean DeVry, Angela Jardine, Jacqueline Jackie McDonald, Wendy Crawford, Jennifer Firminger, Tiffany Drew, Dawn Cray, Deborah Jones, Patricia Johnson, Yvonne Bowen, Heather Chinnock, Heather Bottomley, and Diana Rock.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah, and that is my case.
Oh my god. I was not expecting... I was not expecting the pig farm, but it's wild. There's a lot you talked... I think I listened to a Crimes and Consequences episode, and they talked about them, but there was a lot you talked about that they didn't talk about, which was
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I just either, like, completely erased it from my memory. So there was so much here I had never heard before. So that was very exciting.
Oh, good. Yeah. It was one of those where you're like, ah, shit, this is a lot to get into. You're like, hope I can do it justice, but also keep it from being, like, a 3-parter.
Yeah, because that can happen.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah, especially with, when they kill a lot of people, they're active for a long time.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Mine's a whole lot.
Nah, I'm good. We could just end it here. Just kidding.
No, I need to unload mine onto somebody else, because I, like, can't live with...
No, you gotta, what is it, shared misery is lessened or something?
Yeah.
Alright, yes, that was Robert Pickton. We shall never speak of him again.
Yes, goodbye, and begone.
Begone.
Begone, foul fiend.
Nice.
Alright, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back for part 2. Maybe you won't be back for part 2. I don't know.
You just hear silence from my end.
No,
please, come back.
Yeah. Gordo is with me, so let's see. Maybe he'll do some yoga in front of the mic again. Did you like that video? It was cute.
Yes, I was telling Rain and Pat about it.
I'm like, so now you know, like, when we're recording, I'm like, sometimes then I'm like, oh my god, hold on, he's plugged in being a shit. Because he's just like, ah. Sometimes.
He's like, I can get up on here with your equipment. Yeah.
Yeah, he's laying beside me right now, just staring at me because I tried to brush a knot out of his fur and he got mad at me.
Oh, yeah. You pulled his hair.
Yeah, so now...
Yeah.
He's sitting
Fenrir
beside
would
me.
glare at me just as bad as Rain would when I pulled a knot in her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking to Pat downstairs, having a toke, being like, I'm just saying, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. do you think they killed the pigs after? Like Kelsey was saying, maybe they killed the pigs. And I was like, I didn't research much on that. And he was like, oh, pigs don't eat anything. They don't care or something. And I was like, no, but I know. But then, like, were people eating the pigs? And he's like, oh, yeah, I was getting, like, he was taking parts to the rendering plant and stuff. And I was like, oh, I wasn't sure because you said the thing about the different kinds of fat. And he said, no, that was to do with more with one of the witnesses' stories saying she saw that kind of fat and it wasn't animal fat or what. Yeah, it's so gross. No. He's like, so yeah, you know, it was getting put into like gummies and stuff.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, because that's right. Don't they make gummies out of, you know, use animal parts?
It's
animal
like gelatin. Yeah.
Right. Use something.
Yeah, there's gelatin used for a lot of stuff, like mousses, or not mousses, anything that's like a gelée. Wow, my like cooking gummy. Shows are failing me. Yeah.
yeah. Something that's like kind of whipped and whatever. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Anything that'll keep a shape, like needs to have some sort of structure to it or whatever after.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's why vegans don't always eat them. But anyway, yeah.
Yes.
I was like,
100%.
Oh, gross. Yeah. It's all so gross.
Yeah.
But I could never be a vegan.
Nope. I like bacon too much. I'm sorry. Or sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. That's right. Canadians aren't always sorry, y'all.
Yeah. Get between me and my bacon and you find out.
And no, we don't mean Canadian bacon. The regular, fat, full American bacon. We don't call it American bacon. We just call it bacon.
Do you mean like back bacon?
Well, that's what people call Canadian. They call it Canadian bacon. So I just wondered if Americans.
Bacon too.
Right. But I don't want the Americans to think that we only eat that, and that's what we call bacon. We call bacon bacon. Yeah.
I know what bacon is.
Yeah. Don't tell me it's that. What is it? Prosciutto.
Oh, fuck.
That's the only thing that's close to bacon.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm so ready for your cake.
Oh, I feel like you're gonna regret saying that so excitedly. So
true. That was not true crime appropriate, was it?
Yeah.
I am interested to know more.
I picked my case. Sorry, ignore Gordo sounds in the background.
Okay.
He's being really cute, but it's distracting. He's adorable.
He's like,
what are you?
Pay attention to me, Mom. Pay attention to me.
I have a sewing machine on the ground, and it's an old Singer one that's like 100 years old, and it has a little key that unlocks it. It's a little metal, like, you know, like the diary journal keys that are really small. It's basically that on a string.
Does it unlock like it's got a cover kind of thing?
Yeah, like the carrying cover. So it unlocks that, but it's tied to the handle, and he's on top of it, and he's just pushing the key from one side to the other of the handle. And he doesn't understand why it's not falling. It's very cute. Anyway.
Yeah, I can just picture his little face and his eyes going all like cross-eyed, like, what?
Yeah. Oh, he's so upset.
Oh
okay.
my god, Gordo.
So, to figure out...
I listened to a podcast today where someone's dog barked periodically. It's fine.
Yeah. So, to figure out who I was going to talk about today, I basically found a Wikipedia page that was just about, like, mass murders or, like, serial killers around the world. It was on Wikipedia. Oh. And then you could reorder it.
That sounds dark.
Yeah. You could reorder it by different things. So there was like a separate category for doctors, and then ones, it was like, this does not include people that are hired hitmen, as they presumably would have a lot. And then it was like, oh yeah. But
true.
This was the highest one I found, and basically just like confirmed, like, he did this many. They presume a whole lot more. But the confirmed is very high, and from what I remember, within the category of like not being a doctor and not being a hitman, it's like the highest in the world.
Oh my
Maybe
god.
wrong,
And it's probably
but
someone most people just have never heard of.
yeah. And that's what I ran into. I had never heard of this, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, so sorry about that, because now we're all gonna hear about it.
I remember, yeah, a few of them. I was like, oh, who has the most kills? And then you're like skim reading. You're like, oh, this person sounds horrible. Oh my god. Oh
Yeah.
no. Yeah, you're like, I can't even
Well, I
do
had
the
some
research
people
on that.
on lists that I had found on Murderpedia that were basically running, like, kind of like child mail or like orphanages. So they would basically, women would drop off their
yeah.
baby if they couldn't afford them, and then if they didn't pay to have the baby fed, they would let the baby die or they would kill the baby. So those people are also
Right.
in the hundreds.
Oh my god.
And I had a few
Okay.
of those, but this is somebody that actively sought out these people, and it wasn't like babies. Basically just dying from
Thank
neglect.
God.
Yeah.
That would be probably the grimmest thing I can think to listen to for like an hour or whatever.
This might only be one notch better than that.
You're right, you're right. I should just shut up while I'm ahead.
So I'm gonna be talking about Luis Garavito. I didn't look up many pronunciations, so sorry if I'm saying something wrong, but he has received many, many names through his crimes and them coming to light. Two of them are kind of weird, and I do have explanations for them. The rest will kind of go through. He's been called the Beast. So that's pretty
Okay.
typical. Yeah.
Yeah, I can probably guess how he got that one.
Yeah. He's also been called Goofy, which I'll
oh.
explain way later. The Monster of Genova.
Something tells me it's not going to be a goofy movie.
No. He's been called the Priest, the Madman, Conflict, which I'll also explain. Alfredo Salazar. I don't know.
Oh. Okay.
And Bonifacio Morera Lizcano. That must mean something
Holy
translated. I could have looked that up. I guess I forgot because it
And
wasn't
this is all
underlined.
taking place where? What is
This
the
is in
language?
Colombia.
Oh, it's okay.
So
Okay.
Spanish,
I was
yeah.
like, is it Spanish or like for a minute I thought maybe Italian. Okay, sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah, a few of them have like kind of Italian twangs. When you try and look up pronunciations, Italian comes up first for a lot of these. I
Oh,
was like,
no.
no, Spanish. Give me the Spanish. Colombia.
Right?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't have time for this. Yeah. I get it.
So Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubilo was born on January 25th of 1957 in Genova,
Okay.
Colombia. And he is the eldest son of 7 kids. He has 3 brothers and 3
Wow.
sisters. So, yeah, he's the eldest son. He has at least 1 older sister. So he might be like the second oldest kid. I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot
Holy
of information.
crap.
Big family.
Usually the eldest of a lot is the caregiver type figure.
Yeah.
You know, like the second mom or dad. Yeah, the big sister brother. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's no information about his brothers and sisters other than one, and she's the only one that's named at all, from what I could find. Most of my information I got from Wikipedia because every other article I looked up otherwise either like had the years wrong, his name wrong, or just like random stuff where it was just like, okay, that sounds completely wrong from what I just read. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
His father, Manuel Antonio Garavito, was described by Lewis as an adulterous, drunken, macho, strict, as well as physically and emotionally abusive. So we'll be in for a rough childhood.
You never want two kinds of abusive.
No.
Or any kinds.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, but it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then to top it all off, his mother, Rosa de la Cabullo, she was also described as violent, and she showed the kids and him very little affection, even as children.
Oh.
So pretty
The
neglectful.
mother.
Yeah.
Sorry, it cut out a little when you said mother too. We had a little
I think
Zoom
it's
moment.
yeah, there's some problems with the mom and problems with the dad we'll get into. There's kind of a lot. I'd say like 80% of mine is backstory. Like there's just so much. And then because there's so many victims, there's actually not a lot of specific information about victims other than a few that got away. So I do have some details about them. But yeah,
Makes
most
sense.
of my stuff.
You're not going to take us through 100 different
Yeah.
killings or like...
That'd be insane.
Oh my god. I know.
Yeah.
I felt crazy having to read like almost 50 names.
Yeah.
Or whatever, however many it was.
Yeah, I won't be doing that because other than the ones that got away and like two others, none of them are named. I could find. So yeah, that's quite unfortunate. Yeah. Yeah. So terrible childhood going on. Due to conflicts in Colombia, at the time, the family was actually forced to relocate to Ceylon before Luis entered primary school. So when he was really young. They move around quite a bit. The household was described as one that had a lot of fighting, domestic violence, and then extreme neglect. And Luis recalls...
Bad combo.
Right? Luis recalls at age 6 or 7 being tied to a tree and beaten with a tree branch by his father because he had tried to defend his mother. So, like, the dad was going after the mom, and he tried to intervene.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. And as a result, the severe and random beatings that the kids received basically caused all the children to hide when the dad, Manuel, came home from work.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I would. I'd be absolutely terrified of him.
Right? No one is safe, apparently.
Yeah. Including the mom, because it said that she did get beaten by Manuel even when she was pregnant with the kids. So, really nobody escaped him. Just terrible.
Dang. Mm-hmm. You really wish they had the support they needed to get out.
Right? But she's not so great herself, either.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Which it could have been maybe a result of what is going on, like the neglect and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a battered woman syndrome, sort of PTSD that you get. Mm-hmm.
And then Luis says that one night, so basically all the kids are sleeping in, like, on Wikipedia it said they're all sleeping in the same bed. Like all 7 kids. And there was one time where Luis says that he was sleeping in the same bed as his dad, and he says his dad, like, fondled and touched him. But he says that this only happened one time. But that is going to be a recurring thing that happens
also,
to
like,
him.
In the bed with all those other family members? Like, what
I think
hell?
he might have been, like, in the parents' bed for some reason. There wasn't really... Yeah.
Oh, and then there's, like, one big bed for the kids.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Mm-hmm. He was called, like, pretty bad names by the family members. He was also called an idiot and a bastard. His classmates described him as very reserved and shy, and he was often made fun of by other kids, even though he was known to have a pretty violent temper in his own right, which we'll get into. He is extremely violent as a person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, like father, like son, I guess.
His teachers did say that he was enthusiastic about learning, but would get really frustrated when he was unable to understand the subjects and what he was being taught.
Oh, well, I mean, I can relate to that.
Yeah. So I don't know, I think there might be some, like, learning disability, or maybe it was just the pressure of everything going on at home that was...
Right, and then short fuse combined
Yeah.
with when he can't understand something and then he's just gonna blow. Sure.
Yeah.
I usually just cry when I don't get something.
Yeah. So classmates often picked on him for wearing glasses.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. But it's the 50s and people are shit.
Yeah. I think it was even worse then.
Yeah, because now it's like, I don't know, like 70% of the population in the world wears glasses, and if they don't wear glasses, like another 15% have contacts in or some shit. Like, almost...
It's completely yeah, and it's gone the opposite way where people that don't need them wear them for fashion purposes.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we knew you'd come around one day.
Give it a few more generations and there'll be nobody left that can see properly.
Yeah. Too much time on our devices.
Yeah, so the classmates were picking on him for not wearing glasses, and this caused him to not really make any...
for wearing glasses.
Yeah, for wearing glasses. And this caused him to not make any attempts to play with the other kids, because the teachers, he said, didn't make any attempts to stop the other kids from making fun of him. So he is pretty withdrawn, I'd say, from school.
Yeah, that's shitty.
Mm-hmm. Around 1968, his father forbade him from finishing the 5th grade and told him that he had to go out and start making money to support the family.
Oh.
In 5th grade. Yeah.
Like,
he was 11.
That sounds like it was from out of nowhere, right?
Yeah. He was also...
Yeah.
He was also in his life forbidden from having any friends or even a girlfriend, which we'll get into. There's some stuff with that, too.
Because he's being made to work?
I think so. I don't know. There's like these details, but like not a lot, because everything's just kind of summarized in all the articles I read.
Yeah. It just sounds like similarities to my case.
Yeah, that's what I thought when you were going through yours. I was like, wow, there's so many similarities.
Wow. That's shitty.
So, in 1969, when Luis was 12, there was a drugstore owner that physically and sexually abused Luis while his father and him were at the store. And the one thing said that his dad had brought him in the store to get, like, immunizations or, like, his shots when he was young. And, like, presumably the dad was into the room, and this is when the drugstore owner was physically and sexually abusing him, and that this happened on multiple occasions.
That's insane. Mm-hmm. Like, don't you usually just do that with the doctor in the room?
Yeah, I would think that the dad probably, I don't know. Again, not great parents. They didn't stay in the room with him, and your kid's only 12. So
you did say neglect in the beginning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna get worse. A close friend and neighbor of his father's also ended up abusing Luis. He tied him to a bed before burning him with a candle, cutting him with razor blades, as well as biting him very violently, and that this too happened on multiple occasions.
Sounds like for his gratification, or that's what you said. That's gross and just all kinds of bizarrely kinky and wrong.
Yeah, it'll come up again, because that's kind of the stuff that Luis ends up doing to his victims, is basically what was done to him. He just takes it
so many
next
people
level.
failed him and to let that happen to him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh God, I don't want it. Okay. Yep.
It'll just keep getting worse, trust me. I'm just purging. I'm purging this case out of my brain. So
It's
these
okay. I have wine in the fridge. I'll be able to and weed. I'll be able to sleep tonight. It's okay. It's okay. Lay it on me.
So these traumas and the abuse he faced ended up leading Lewis to killing and dissecting 2 birds, which are reported he later felt remorse and shame for having done.
Okay.
And then on the flip side, after this and killing the birds, he began suggesting to his younger siblings that they all sleep naked in the bed that they all shared. And then at this point, he began sexually abusing his siblings.
Oh God, he's just keeping it in the family.
Yeah.
Just like his daddy has taught him.
Yeah. So,
Gross.
yeah, he is sexually abusing his siblings, and Lewis says that around this time he began abusing a 6-year-old boy. Again, this is when he's about 12.
Oh my God, outside of the family?
Yeah.
You mean?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, according to those that knew him, Lewis would become very withdrawn, extremely aggressive, and at this point he was, quote, ready to take revenge on the world. So he was just a very angry young boy, because he's still basically a boy.
Yeah, I think he's already started that revenge on the world.
Yeah. The abuse that he was enduring from the neighbor finally ended when the family relocated to Trujillo in 1971, and the physical and sexual traumas had actually caused Lewis to not be able to ejaculate and had caused an erectile dysfunction problem that would follow him into adulthood. So that's...
Oh.
Yeah. Keeping in mind he's like 13. So...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, keep up. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, there's...
Sexual trauma causing other trauma. And now he's spreading the trauma. Okay.
Basically.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really how his story goes. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What did they say? Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So he did end up keeping the sexual abuse he had faced, I believe, from the doctor and the neighbor. He kept this to himself. He didn't really tell anybody, partially for fear that his dad wouldn't believe him and that he believed that no one would care what was being done to him, which I find really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he obviously... Wow. I was gonna say, I thought he was close with his family, but then he started... Not his dad, maybe some of his siblings, but obviously once he starts abusing them, then...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that ruins that relationship.
Damn. Yeah. So we get into, at age 14, there was a family friend. I believe this is supposed to be, like, an older one, so, like, maybe of the parents or the dad, who ended up, for some reason, showing Lewis, like, porn. I don't know in what format. It was described as heterosexual porn, like, actively in the article I read, because Lewis himself, he believes he is gay, so that's why he has a lot of these problems we'll get into, but so yeah, this family friend at 14 is trying to show him porn, and it said that he expressed disgust at what was being depicted, and that the neighbor, in kind, decided to beat him up pretty severely and then raped him. Because that's the response you take. It's just shitty.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing like adding to that confusing time in your life.
Right?
But then also, having to deal with wasn't his first anything, his father abusing him, and now this dude.
Yeah, as he says.
Friend.
Yeah, well, it's been, what, the store guy, possibly the dad, the neighbor, and now this guy. Yeah, right. So this is, like, number 4. So
Woof.
in 1972, at the age of 15, it said on Wikipedia that he tried aggressively and repeatedly to initiate sexual relations with women, but his advances were all rejected. Don't like the use of the word
Oh.
aggressively. Uh,
Yeah, I'm sure that didn't help
no.
his whole situation.
Yeah.
Which
Uh,
is fucked to begin with.
yeah. He developed a pretty severe alcohol addiction that'll follow him throughout his life, through other alcoholic family members supplying him, like, just with alcohol.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a way to deal with his trauma, too.
Oh, yeah. He was kicked out of the house many, many times due to both just rebelling against the family and probably the rules, and for the parents knowing about different sexual assaults he had committed against minors, that he had gotten in trouble for. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is when it really just goes downhill. There's a lot of stuff against kids. That's basically his MO, is children. So that's fun.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones that are very hard to talk about, but doesn't make them less worth covering. So I'll continue to stay buckled as
just stare at the wall.
Build on.
Stare at the wall.
I know we're about to go
out.
sharply downhill. What?
Yeah. I just said stare at the wall, zone out, and pretend I'm not saying anything. We'll get through it.
Oh my god. Okay.
So his mother, so out of like the kicking him out of the house a bunch of times, there's 2 times that are mentioned, and that's one time his mom kicked him out for attempting to rape a 5-year-old, and then again a different time when he had attempted to assault a 6-year-old at a train station. Yeah.
Oh my.
At the train station, the boy screamed, which alerted the authorities, and they arrested Luis, who stated he only wanted to, quote, lightly molest the child in response later in court to his attempted rape charge. I just wanted to lightly molest him. Yeah.
Sir.
Do you want to guess what his father's response was for him trying to molest this child? It's like...
That he only lightly molested his son? No, I don't know.
Oh, no, I mean Luis's father. Do you want to know what his response was? Because don't forget, he's also a piece of shit.
Yeah. I meant, like, was he saying, oh, that's okay, I only lightly molested my son, so surely he's only gonna lightly molest someone else? I don't know.
That's close.
I'm very confused and angry.
The dad's response was that he should have chosen to assault a woman instead of a young boy. That was all he had to say. Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's his main concern.
Yeah, he has a big problem with Luis potentially being gay.
Gotcha. Big homophobe. Why am I not surprised?
So,
Quelle surprise.
Yeah. Luis, or Garavito's homosexuality caused frequent arguments between him and his father, and he was evicted from the house for the final time for homosexual behavior. That's what it said.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Don't love that.
Mm-hmm. It said that he developed an antisocial personality disorder as a result of being without friends, as well as having an unstable home life. Which, I mean, yeah.
No
understandable. He worked at various jobs through his life, but always ended up having problems with coworkers, clients, or his bosses, which would end up later escalating to physical altercations.
So, like, people in general, he has a problem with.
I think he still the alcoholism and then his temper. He had a bunch of different jobs, including one where he was working as a street vendor, selling religious icons or objects, and he ended up during this time falling in love with a school teacher that is named Luz Mary Ocampo Orozco, and he ended up attending weekly mass at church with her.
What?
Yeah. Her name gets mentioned a few
Hallmark
times.
movie now?
Right. She's not gonna save him.
Oh no.
No.
She thought she could. No, I don't know.
Oh, she had no idea. Nobody knew what was going on. That's the thing.
Wow. I mean, wow, yeah, he's done a full 180 going to church with her.
Yeah, he gets very religious obsessed. I'll say that much. When he was sober and not drinking, he was described by different girlfriends he had as being loving, and that he was treating any of the children, like the women's children, well and good. They had fun. But when he was drunk, he was controlling, jealous, as well as physically abusive. As a result, he began facing town gossip. There was lots of gossip about him and his actions, and this eventually caused him to be kicked out by basically all of his girlfriends at different points.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna put up with that for too long.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the 1970s, he was depressed, paranoid, and facing psychosis. So he does have mental health problems going on.
Oh, I'm sure, whether or not they were all diagnosed or not.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the 70s. That's probably not great.
Yeah. It was the 70s. Shrug. No.
Yeah. He expressed the desire to start a family, and did continue to have sex with women when he was drunk, but due to his due to his erectile dysfunction that he had, he was unable to finish and start a family, and this said it often led to sudden and unprovoked rants about his hatred for his family.
What?
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's not just your ED that's stopping you from having a family. It's you and your personality.
Yeah.
You can live with, problems with erectile dysfunction or problems with fertility. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So crazy.
So during 1978, there's lots of kind of little time jumps. He was participating in AA, or Alcoholics Anonymous, meetings, and he reconnected briefly with his former girlfriend, Lesmary. That was the school teacher he was in love with.
Still don't get this part. Yeah, school teacher. What? She liked him?
Yeah.
At least dating for a bit? Yeah. Okay.
By this point, kind of the late 70s, he had drifted away from most of his family members, other than his older sister, Esther. She's the only one that has a name, other than him. I'm not even kidding.
And look how effortlessly you said that, Esther.
Esther.
There! I did it! I didn't have to stumble over it this time.
Yeah.
I had such a hard time saying that last time I had to say it.
So, yeah, his older sister, Esther, avoided him, mainly, I'd say, because of his alcoholism. That's what was talked about. But doesn't mean that she never saw him. And kind of jumping ahead, he was repeatedly hospitalized in the 1980s due to suicidal thoughts. And he ended up being prescribed medication and was seeing a psychiatrist. But he was afraid of the consequences of what would happen, so he did choose not to inform the psychiatrist of his pedophilia or his sexual impotence he had with female partners. So he didn't really talk. I don't know what else he would have talked about, but didn't talk about that.
I mean, maybe your pedophilia is something you don't want to bring up on your first date. I don't know. I can't even joke.
This is a psychiatrist, but yeah. I mean, you'd be afraid of the consequences.
Yeah.
You could get committed or whatever.
Right, so he doesn't even want to talk about it with him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, during this time, I assume he's still attending local church services. It said that during or after the attendance of the church services, he would remorsefully beat his chest during prayer, and then would subsequently attend Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and then occasionally visit psychiatrists before ending his day by frequenting Valencia Park, that was a known hotspot for child sex work. It's like,
Oh my God, really?
What a day. Yeah, what a day.
Yeah. You're just like, oh yeah, I'll just go to church so that I can confess
Go
for
to
the
AA.
sins that all the crimes I committed last night, I'll just go to confession. It'll all balance out. Like, I feel like this is his, like, mindset or something.
I think so, yeah.
You're cracking your knuckles?
Yeah, sorry.
No, I don't mind. That sound doesn't bother me. I do it all the time. But I just had to make sure.
Yeah, so
Aww. Now I hear Gordo.
Is it? Oh, no, he's not even in the room.
Oh, I thought he meowed. Okay.
Oh, no. You're hearing things. It's a ghost cat. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It must be the weed.
So it'll just keep getting worse. Now we get into some more shit. In the 1980s, he was working at a supermarket in Armenia, which gave him a 2-hour lunch break on Thursdays and Sundays.
Okay, that's a fucking long break.
Yeah. I feel like they shouldn't have given him that long, because he used the time to drive to a neighboring town and then bind and rape children. What a lunch break.
Oh.
Yeah.
I get so much done on my lunch break, guys.
Yeah.
God.
At this time, it's estimated that he was molesting children at least once a month. I believe it was probably significantly more frequent than that. And this later escalated.
Wow, he's busy.
Yeah. He's very busy. It's insane. This later escalated to torturing children, I said, using methods that others had used on himself when he was a child. He ended up writing the children's names in a blue notebook, and then later on he would always pray for them. Weird.
Great.
He had, like, a weird ritual, so he would, like, pray for them, all while walking around his bedroom naked, beating his chest. He really likes to beat his chest. And then he also began to compulsively read the Bible every night, particularly the book of Psalms, looking for an explanation of his behavior. So...
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the crazy evangelical religious zealot that is like, I have to... What is it? There's that one movie where he's like scourging himself and like literally whipping himself in one of the Da Vinci Code movies. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, the priest.
Because you're crazy enough to think that like, this is what you deserve. But then also maybe you're doing something crazy enough to deserve that.
Yeah, right? It's a vicious cycle.
I don't even know what to say. Yeah.
It said that wrecked with guilt and depression he had over the crimes he had committed, he had frequent nightmares about different children and woke up in tears before breaking into hysterical laughter over like what he had done to them.
The laughing.
Yeah.
I don't love this laughing killer aesthetic.
Yeah.
Not a good look, guys.
No. He developed an interest in Satanism, tarot reading. Because why not? More interesting, he began idolizing Adolf Hitler after reading Mein Kampf and discovering similarities in their early lives, including homosexual experiences. I don't know much about Hitler, did not know anything about homosexual experiences in Hitler.
That sounds oddly familiar.
I don't know. All I know is
Have
he
not
wanted
read-
to be a painter, and there was something about a window and the staircase covering the window, and people didn't like his art. And, like, that's what yeah.
I mean, yeah, people focus on the weirdest things, right? They'll be like,
Yeah.
he failed. Yeah, I've heard that too, like that he failed as an artist, or that Einstein failed at whatever grade of math. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
what do
They're
these
people.
facts really mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've heard that one of the books that was just, I literally heard, oh, you should read the book that's all of the Hitler's spontaneous utterances at like dinner tables. It's like a compilation. And I was like,
Oh my god.
that sounds bizarrely fascinating. Because, I don't know, it's one of those, if you could go to dinner with anybody, like, wouldn't crazy dictators be as fascinating in a way as like crazy good people?
I mean, for us to
just-
learn, like, more about them to prevent it, sure.
Yes, in a morbid fascination kind of way, not because I would actually want to sit down to dinner with.
Maybe if he got
yeah.
poisoned at the end and would die, and you just, like, waiting for him to die. Just, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Icing on the cake.
Yeah. Yeah, so he gets this weird thing about Hitler. He becomes fascinated with concentration camps and just loves the idea of mass graves, which we'll get into. Because he does
Didn't
later...
think that was ever a sentence I was ever going to hear you say.
Yeah.
He just loves mass graves? Okay.
Yeah, because he actually does later make his own mass grave as a way to dispose of the victims' bodies. And he got the idea from the Nazis. So, yeah. There's at least one mass grave that they uncovered. I believe there was probably more. But there's... Because things talk about, like, mass graves around the city or whatever, and then things only talk about, like, the body count in one of them, and then they say and other bodies were found elsewhere. But it was like, yeah.
In a way, it's good because you find a bunch at once. I mean, like,
Yeah.
to investigators, that'd be like the jackpot.
Mm-hmm. It definitely, like,
Yeah.
if they tie him to the mass grave, like, his body count, like, whew, through the roof, like, immediately.
Really?
Yeah, he gets up there in numbers from just the one. So, after being placed briefly in a psychiatric care in 1984 for just 33 days, following a reported mental breakdown, he fled after he was released and immediately molested and tortured 2 children.
Just 2? Okay. Fuck.
After this, he started storing scalpels, candles, and razor blades in plastic bags in preparation.
Ugh.
Yeah.
A kill kit.
Basically. I didn't want to call it a kill kit. But
Oh.
yeah. Call it a torture
But
kit?
that's-
I don't know. Is that worse?
No, because that's what they're thinking of it like. Like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what Israel Keyes did, from what I know of him. Was like plant things around North America and then go back to them and be like, oh, here's my like duct tape and my knife and
Oh,
yeah.
so weird.
Oh yeah. Eeh.
So yeah, he starts doing this. He was briefly detained for stealing jewelry from a friend.
Okay.
Don't know more information about that or how long that was. But by this point, it's reported that he had molested and tortured more than 100 children. And,
no.
yeah. The records show that wherever Garavito or Luis resided, reports of child molestation increased dramatically. Like, insane increase. Anytime he lived, like, they tracked all his moves. And they're just like, yep, there's the spike, and then it went down when he moved away.
Like afterwards they noticed?
I assume, like,
The
if they went
pattern.
back and stuff, because they they sort of get on to him, but not really. It's kind of just something he does that, like, messes up, and then they get on his trail.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not all of these, like you're saying, molested and tortured, but not they're not all dead. All of these?
None of those kids are dead. He hasn't killed a single kid or person yet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just stop there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is gonna be bad. So
yeah, dibs out. Oh gosh.
after this, he develops an obsession with the serial killer, or killer Campo Elias Delgado, who I don't know if this really. I'd say he's a mass murderer. I don't think he's a serial killer. He committed a mass murder at a restaurant, so I think all of his victims were at one time.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's...
I
thought that was
different.
considered mass murder.
Yeah. So
Or
at
like
this,
spree killer even, because you're not waiting in between. Okay.
so Garavito, after kind of getting obsessed with him, began to fantasize about getting a machine gun and killing his entire family, starting with his dad. I mean, maybe you should just kill your mom and your dad and then not kill your siblings, because they don't sound like, from what I can tell, they did anything wrong. After killing his family, he wanted to then commit suicide, and he believed that this would be the best way for him to die.
Okay.
Which, I mean, a lot of, like, mass murders, I feel like, have the same thing, and it's like, well, sorry to say, but just kill yourself then. Like, don't take out schools and people at concerts and movie theaters and shit. Like, just...
Yeah. Like, they're like, oh, I should decide the way I go out. Well, not if it takes out other people, and I also don't even agree with that if it just takes out you. Like, I don't think you should do that either.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate when people, you know, are depressed enough that they have to go through that. Like, ugh. There's enough shit in the world without this shit.
Yeah.
Not getting treated. Like, oh, it's all a mental health issue, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
So during this time, it said that he got a different girlfriend and was living with her.
oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Somebody with some low standards. Or
Somewhere. Yeah. It said that he was showering her and her teenage son with money and affection, but would only stay for like 3 or 4 days at a time and spent the rest of the month somewhere else. So apparently she was fine with that arrangement, even though he technically lived with her. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. It said that she too became wary of his alcoholism and antisocial behavior. And I assume at some point she kicked him out. Most of the girlfriends, like, aren't named. I really only named, like, the one because she came up more than once.
Wow.
So his friends ended up witnessing him drunk in public with various minors. So they kind of took notice of that. And I put personally that they suspected him of being attracted to minors, because they like put it stuck out with them. And then it said, but they never discussed it with him. And I put that they didn't believe he was acting on it, because they put stuff about like them not being aware of, like him being a pedophile and stuff like that. So, but he's still drunk in public with minors, which is suspicious and just kind of strange.
Right. So you're saying, that as far as like police and stuff are aware, they don't have enough to charge him with yet, other than being drunk with minors.
Well, no, this is his friends. I don't think the police were like doing anything yet.
Oh.
Yeah, these are just his own friends like pick up on this. And
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
His girlfriends at the time were also unaware of any of his crimes during the time he was with them.
Wow.
Beginning in 1988, he began storing or documenting his crimes through trophies like tickets, receipts, clothes, IDs from victims, and he stored them in multiple black cloth suitcases that he left at various girlfriends' or females' residences. Basically, just left them there. Apparently, none of them ever opened that shit, because you'd think that would be weird.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like Bluebeard's closet of skulls. Wait. Oh my god. I don't know. That's crazy.
So, while operating a Ouija board, he was alleged to have entered a state of psychosis. I know, it's so ridiculous.
What? Okay.
In which
I was
the
expecting
devil...
that.
Right? These are so abrupt, I'm sorry. Yeah, so he's operating a Ouija board. He enters a state of psychosis in which the devil had asked him whether he would like to serve him. Answering that he would, the devil responded saying, "Kill, that with killing many things may come." That's a hard thing to say.
Oh my god. Ominous also.
Mm-hmm.
With killing, many things will come. Okay.
Yeah. And this brings to him killing his first victim, Juan Carlos, on October 4th, 1992. I'll get into the details a little bit. He, at this point, was wearing various disguises, which explains some of his nicknames he got, such as a priest, a monk, a farmer, homeless man, street vendor, fortune teller, baker, drug dealer, school teacher, charity organization worker, bar and restaurant manager, elderly man, and gambler. He likes disguises. So he's wearing these.
Okay.
Yeah, these were supposedly picked so that he could be, like, in direct contact with children without it being weird. I don't know. Like a gambler or elderly man or drug dealer.
Yeah, not all of those have a stereotypical look or costume to them. A few of them was like, okay, priest, now that's making sense. Like, maybe he was,
a monk.
you know, right. You could
A baker.
possibly dress yourself up as that.
A charity organization worker.
Right. And you work for the Good Times Piggy Palace Society or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's some of his costumes. So I think, like, he had, like, the priest and one other one as kind of a nickname around town. Yeah.
The priest and the beast. Didn't you say he was known as the beast? Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it said that he lured children with promises of money, candy, or drinks. So getting to the first victim that he killed, because it's not the first victim he had, but it's the first one that he killed.
Yeah.
So again, this is Juan Carlos. The boy left a crowded area with Garavito and went to a remote area near the local railroad. And this is where it gets pretty gruesome details. He was later found with his front teeth knocked out, severe cuts to his rectum and throat, and his genitals severed. Yeah.
Oh.
Which is a very common theme. Upon waking at sunrise, Garavito began sobbing as he noted the bloodstains noted Carlos's bloodstains on his clothes. And then it said he felt remorseful and was, like, crying in the sunrise. And then the next paragraph said, and then he killed a boy 6 days later on the way to visit his sister. So it was like, oh, so remorseful. Less than a week later.
And also, yeah, who would their source be that he was crying, feeling remorseful? Yeah. Him?
I think it's him. Yeah. Him and his walking around beating his chest every 5 minutes. I don't know.
I mean, I'm rather naive, like to believe the best in people until proven otherwise. But even I'm skeptical of this horse shit.
Yeah. So kind of a little numbers thing. Are you ready?
Oh. Okay.
In the 1980s is when he was raping and torturing minors, not killing them. All of his victims were between the age of 6 and 16, and the estimates are at a minimum of 200 that he raped or molested that didn't die. Before progressing to the rape, torture, mutilation, murder of an additional and separate 189 minors in Colombia between 1992 and 1999, and an additional 4 murders in Ecuador in the summer of 1998. So that puts him at over 200, like, that the estimates are at.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we'll get into what he confessed to or what they linked to him in a little bit, because it's not much lower than that, which is absolutely insane.
How is it that his name isn't as known as some of the others, right?
Right. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm shocked, like, absolutely shocked that, like, nobody's... I assume there's podcasts out about this guy, but, like, this is insane. Like...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hate to bring things down to, like, the politics and the race of it, but if there's a missing white girl syndrome, then maybe there's a focus on white killers within North America, especially.
I think there is.
But I've seen some non, like, white podcasts, or, you know what I mean? Like, just different ones. A Filipino one I've heard of, and then there's a Mexican one that was, like, is Spooky Tales, and, like, I was like, oh, just different ones. You're like, oh, okay, cool, like, different cultures being represented. It's awesome to see that.
Yeah.
But,
for, like, I'd say, I think it was the top 2 or 3 of, like, the number. Like, he's number 1 in the world for, like, actual body count, I think, other than Doctor or, like, Hitman. And then I think number 2 was also in Colombia, or, like, Central America. Yeah,
you just don't hear of ones over 100.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it. It's like, okay, well, obviously they exist.
Yeah. It's insane. So getting to 2 of his nicknames that I said I'd explain. The first one is Goofy. Because who wouldn't want this man to be nicknamed Goofy? It just said known locally as Goofy. He was a generous man who gave to children in Trujillo. He also the next, like, literally it says that. Gave to children, he also collected their amputated toes before disposing of them for fear that the Colombian National Police's scent dogs team may trace them to him. That was literally the explanation of that nickname on Wikipedia. Like, is that... It's such a polarizing sentence. A very run-on sentence. Yeah. He gave...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm still processing what amputated toe.
He was collecting other stuff, but he did start collecting toes before discarding them because he was afraid, like, the scent dogs would be able to track them. Maybe if they were looking for the bodies, like, they'd be able to... Because I haven't talked about it, but during this time, like, other than the mass grave... they're finding bodies everywhere. They're finding them on hillsides, just out of town, secluded areas, wherever. Like, dozens and dozens of bodies. So, and they're all have these signs of, like, torture and stuff like that. So, I feel like, and obviously if he's cutting off their toes, they have amputated toes. So, if the scent dog's going out, he was probably pretty worried about that.
Yeah.
So then the other nickname, Conflict, I think this is more appropriate. He was given by locals because he was frequently seen drunk and would drift from town to town as he outwore his welcome, often due to his domestic disputes with coworkers, abusing his girlfriends, and then his general inability to behave normally.
Yeah, so like it's like when people joke, hey, trouble. It's like, no, he's
Yeah,
literally
he was
walking trouble.
conflict.
Oh my
His
gosh.
erratic behavior left him unable to develop meaningful relationships, despite living with two different women in Pieria at the time of his arrest. So there's no more
What?
explanation for that. So I don't know if he was two-timing these women. I don't know. Confusing.
Holy shit, probably.
Yeah. So my next quite a bit is actually just from Wikipedia because they had some summaries, unfortunately, about like kind of his MO, I guess, of what he would do.
Okay.
And then also they had a couple little blurbs about two of the kids that got away. And they aren't the only victims that got away, but they're, I think, two of the ones that maybe were the most, like, it makes them very happy that they got away, so that they could share their stories.
Right, I'm
So,
sure not all were willing to talk about it.
no, because I assume more got away than was listed. I think there was only 6 listed. One of them was just listed as, like, unnamed. The other ones listed their names, but
Okay.
so according to Wikipedia, and this said it was from a statement from Garavito directly, and it said that he primarily targeted children of humble background who had light-colored eyes and were working class, homeless, peasants, or orphaned, claiming to feel a force within that compelled him to kill. He would look for children and lure them away by bribing them with small gifts, such as money, candy, or odd jobs. Said that he was terrified of the. Yeah. He was apparently terrified of the dark and would approach the kids in
Ooh.
broad daylight in public places, ranging from the rural countryside to crowded city streets. He.
Really?
Yeah, he was pretty ballsy that way. He would also wait
Except
and
for being terrified of the dark.
yeah, that's such an odd thing.
Like
Um,
Robert Pickton was terrified of the shower.
yeah,
Come at those guys with a dark shower. They're fucking jelly.
yeah, they don't know what
Oh
to
my
do.
god. Yeah.
So it said that he would also wait and drink brandy near school zones on evenings to wait for unknowing children, probably to cross his
Oh
path.
god.
Once he would have the trust of a child, he would walk them to a secluded spot or mass grave site, because he did take them to the mass grave with the victim, encouraging them to talk about their personal life until they were tired and vulnerable, which then made them easy to handle.
Oh my
After,
god.
yeah, after sipping about half of a bottle of brandy, Garavito would proceed to bind the child, intimidating them with a knife as he fondled and sometimes masturbated over them. This is all apparently
Oh.
according to him. He made a pact with the devil, and satanic rituals were also incorporated into the mass murders of the children, who he said were apparent blood sacrifices. I don't know what he thought he was getting in return for this, because other than his endless supply of girlfriends, that, I don't know, that seems to be
Right?
nothing.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
didn't keep him from getting caught, obviously.
No. Continuing with his MO, it said usually the child would endure prolonged rape and torture by having their hands, feet, and butt or buttocks stabbed with a screwdriver.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna get real bad. Garavito was also known to place broken blades in between his fingers and like flay at the child's skin. Teeth were often knocked out and sharpened objects inserted into the anus. Again, this literally happened over 180 times. Like, this is insane. Uh,
Oh
the
my god.
yeah, the penis and testicles were often severed and placed in the child's mouth while they were still alive. They, yeah, they were burned with a
Whoa.
lighter stomped on, and often showed deep cuts on the back, belly, and throat. In some cases, they were sexually abused as their intestines poured out of their belly. They were
Oh my god.
Yeah. Then he goes full like Vlad the Impaler and impales kids through the anus and out the mouth with something. There was kids that were also stabbed over 100 times. Yeah. Like, how people
and
are
is
not...
this still all his word for it? Because, like...
Yeah, this is what it said. It all says, like, according to him. And then this was the MO that was listed. Again, it was from Wikipedia. Some of the... Like, these specific details I didn't find on anything else. So...
Oh, yeah, it's just so brutal and
yeah,
just so specific.
Mm-hmm. Only a bit left. I'm sorry.
It's like, I don't need any dinner tonight now.
Right? Oh.
Oh my gosh.
It said that it's weird because this is the only time it said that he basically could orgasm or climax is when this was going on. Yeah. So
we don't need to know that.
Right? I don't know why he's so free with these details.
Right. It's obvious that's his motivation. Like, it's sexually motivated. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It said that this would occur when he decapitated the child alive or cut the throat as he finished before leaving the severed genitals in the mouth of the decapitated head. I think I said that part before.
Clearly too many times now before you die, you've said to say that.
Yeah, this reminded me of Ed Kemper a bit. I was like, oh, these two would be friends.
Yeah, because the severed head play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saw a picture of him on a documentary the other day. He's looking old now.
Oh, yeah.
Real old. Yeah, he's still alive, but...
Yeah.
I hope this guy isn't.
We'll get to it. It's gonna be super infuriating. I'll say that much.
Oh no. Mine is in Canada. We don't have capital punishment. Yours is in Colombia. I don't understand why he wouldn't be dead, but okay.
They don't have the death sentence there.
No, they don't. Okay.
No. So necrophilia with the victim's corpse was also occasionally involved in the crimes. It said sometimes prematurely, as Garavito could only achieve orgasm by beating and stabbing the victims during intercourse. The bodies of the children were all found completely naked, and all bore bite marks and signs of anal penetration. Containers of lubricant were found near the bodies, along with empty bottles of the cheapest brandy in Colombia, and most corpses showed signs of prolonged torture. So that was his MO. Courtesy of Wikipedia. Thanks, I guess. Thanks, I hate it.
Wow.
So that's the worst part. It's over. And I didn't even drink during this one because it was so early.
I know, it makes you want to get through it as fast as you can. I get it.
So that's why I really wanted to talk about at least a couple of the victims, because just the horrific stuff that all the other ones endured, which I'm sad you don't have any of the names for them. I assume just because there's so many, again, like 180 some.
And they're so young, so they don't always get released.
Yeah, true. It's probably definitely protecting their identities of them and their families, for sure. So the first out of a few of the victims, I'll just be talking about two of them. One is William Trujillo, and in 1979, again, this was from Wikipedia, it said Garavito was wielding a machete when he seized 9-year-old William on a Villa del Cauca region as he was about to join other playing children nearby. He kind of like bear hugged him, so like, I assume probably from behind, and grabbed him and threatened to kill him if he screamed. William obliged and was escorted by Garavito to an abandoned building where he was sexually molested and tortured for 12 hours. So these weren't like quick things. Yeah.
He's gonna get killed no matter what he does.
Yeah. When Garavito sensed that someone was near the house, he urged the child to remain silent. And when Garavito lost consciousness from drinking, William exited the building and like got help and stuff.
Oh, so he did survive.
Yeah.
Wow.
He survived, and then the next one that survived, again, these aren't the only ones that did. There's Brand Fernie Barnal Alvarez.
Okay.
He is 16 years old, and he was working with his father in the rooster fighting business in the 1990s. And
Cockfights? Okay.
Cockfights. And while his dad was tending to the roosters in the cockpit, Garavito took him to the boy Brand to a secluded spot by threatening him with a knife.
Oh.
He then proceeded to bind, sexually assault, and torture Alvarez with methods ranging from stabbing him several times with a screwdriver as he was raping him to beating, just basically beating him until he was weak and unconscious. Alvarez eventually broke free from his restraints and fled. What was going on?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Toward the end of Garavito's crime spree, he would roam the West Colombian region as a homeless drifter. He was weary of murdering minors, as he felt, like at this point, as he felt they were much too easy for him to lure. And he was developing plans to eventually commit a mass murder in which he would kidnap several adults and murder them as he was attracting the attention of journalists. And then he wanted to die in some sort of frenzy. So I think he means like a shootout with police or something.
Oh, it's like, fuck off. Doesn't mean you're going to Valhalla or giving a warrior's death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not. Like, fuck him. Before he could carry out his plan, Garavito would be detained for the attempted sexual assault of 12-year-old John Ivan Sabogal on April 22nd, 1999. There was more information about this, but just the gist of it was that he was interrupted by, like, assaulting or attacking the kid. Mm-hmm. They were interrupted by a homeless 16-year-old boy who basically distracted Garavito by chucking rocks at him, and this allowed the child John to escape, and then him and the boy that had interrupted, they fled the area together, and Garavito's like pursuing them. And
holy shit.
Yeah, so like brave kid. This kid definitely saved his life. He later caught up with them at a farmhouse that they had run to, and there was like a woman living there, and Garavito was like kind of like screaming at her all this stuff about two kids, had she seen them, and she told them that the kids were in the woods, so he basically like books it back into the woods and then gets lost. Yeah, he gets lost. She calls the police and is like, yeah, the fucker's in the woods. And they basically let him wander around the woods for a couple hours until he got tired and finally made his way out. And then they just arrested him.
And she had the kids?
Yeah, the kids were in the house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So kudos to her.
Yeah.
Because that must have been extremely scary.
Yeah.
And Garavito was held under suspicion for several months. Again, he was arrested in April. And then they weren't really able to confirm his identity for the first little while. I assume because he's kind of bouncing around all the time. But after they confirmed his identity, they began to piece together like all of his crimes and fit him in with them. And then in October of 1999, after he had been in custody for many months, he ended up confessing to the rape, torture, and mutilation and murder of 147 minors that included young men and boys in the Western Columbia region. So he confessed to 147.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's
At
insane.
At this point, the police had discovered, it said a mass grave. Again, there could have been more than one. The only one that's ever discussed said that it contained 36 bodies. So even getting pinned to that one is, like, insane.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Along with a whole bunch of bodies that were left out on hillsides and in secluded areas outside of town. Police had located his glasses, clothes, money, and a note listing his address that was found near the mass grave after he had passed out drunk and smoking a cigarette and had set a sugarcane field on fire.
Oh my god.
I assume he
what?
left his clothes there because it said he got severe burns. So he probably, like, took his clothes off and left them there along with his money and a piece of paper with his address. So stupid.
That.
Yeah, he ran
why?
away, so he leaves
Why?
this there. Yeah. The police had previously gone to the address listed, because this was well before he got arrested. Police went to the address listed and talked to his girlfriend. She gave them the black bag containing some of the photographs of the kids, and then articles and, like, newspaper clippings written about the killings. I assume she probably hadn't opened the case before the cops got there, or she would have been like, I think you need to see this.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And then police, after he was arrested, police were able to match, like, his eyeglass prescription. I guess he has some rare disorder or something with his eyes, so his glasses were, like, fairly unique. So they were able to match him with those glasses, as well as obviously just matching his DNA to being found on a bunch of the victims' bodies.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. He was charged with murder, rape, and violent sexual act. Between all the victims, he is confirmed to have murdered at least 193 minors, and then he was convicted for the 142. I think I said he confessed. Almost all the ones he confessed to.
That's a lot to be convicted of.
Yeah. The victims were almost exclusively boys, though Garavito had been noted by local media to have molested and murdered female victims. Going into his sentencing, he was sentenced to 1,853 years and 9 days in Colombia in 2001.
Technical difficulties, y'all.
So I think I got through that. So...
Okay.
Yeah.
Conviction.
So for conviction, he was sentenced to 1,853 years and 9 days back in 2000.
And 9 days.
And 9 days. What they did is they took the number of victims and then multiplied it by whatever their sentence was going to be per victim. So somehow that worked out to whatever and 9 days.
That's a lot different than the maximum sentence in Canada.
Well, it was kind of stupid to do it that way because in Colombia it made it the lengthiest sentence in Colombian history, but as the law stated the maximum couldn't be more than 40 years, it was reduced to 40. So, but he was sentenced to 1,853 years and 9 days.
Just in case anyone thought they weren't gonna count all the victims.
Yes.
I mean, can you imagine being the person that has to prosecute or deal with that as a law enforcement?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't want to know how many, like, banker boxes worth of case files they had about when they were going through.
Yeah, the work that you have to do for one victim alone.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Must have been insane. But this is where everybody's gonna be mad. I'm sorry in advance. He aided in helping the police finding many victims' bodies, which would be great, except they reduced his sentence from 40 years down to 22.
Because he helped them find bodies?
Yeah, he helped them locate a whole bunch of bodies. Yeah.
So that was part of his initial sentencing? Like, not after he was in
No,
jail
I
for
think
a
it's when he
while?
was in jail for a while.
Huh.
Yeah. I assume so. It doesn't really give a timeline on that.
Okay.
And then, as I kind of talked about, life in prison and the death penalty don't exist in Colombia. And since Garavito's sentencing, or since his sentencing originally for the 40 years was the maximum, in Colombia they have actually changed it from 40 years to 60, as that being the maximum you can be sentenced to.
Wow.
I think that's more
That's a
realistic.
good long time. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think 60 is good.
Yeah, it sounds harsh.
Yeah. In 2003, he made an additional confession. This was a couple years into his prison sentence. He confessed to 28 more murders, of which 5 were adults.
28?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
All adult victims were thought to have been killed to get rid of potential witnesses rather than to fulfill any sort of like personal like fantasy he had or whatever they said.
Oh no.
So just like witnesses. Which brings the
Yeah.
possible number
Because he's
of...
sloppy, probably.
Yeah. I mean, if it... Yeah, I feel bad. Ugh. I didn't tell you, but there is a couple pictures in the drive. You can see what this asshole looks like. There's a
Nope.
picture of him. There's
No,
a picture of him in a disguise. There's one of the victims' like remains. It's basically just a skull that I think he helped police track down. And then there's a picture of him like pretty recently, I'd say, within the last few years, I guess. Him in prison. He looks nothing like he did when he was arrested. Yeah. So
Okay.
with the additional confession he made, it brings the possible number to 221 murders. And based on like the amount of murders and stuff that police had in the area going on and how frequently he was killing, like I told you at one point, like the first crime he did was like this day and then the second one was 6 days later. Like there was hardly any cooling off, and that's how he started. That was
Right.
victim 1 and 2. They believe that the 221 is actually pretty low, and police believe that the number may be closer to 400, which would be insane.
Sorry, the first victim, like, of the ones that got murdered? Or
Yeah.
Are they counting from the ones that...
No, this
'Cause-
is just the murders. They believe.
Because you could, like, that's obviously, you know, his practice was all the ones that he didn't kill.
Yeah.
So you have to take that into consideration as far as... That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. Like, as far as, yeah, whether he's gone 0 to 60 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, just horrible. Okay, and I see his little serial killer face, and he just kind of does look like a normal person, right? I mean, don't we all? You don't know what people are capable of. We're all capable of horrible things. That's always the lesson.
Those big glasses are the glasses that they kind of caught him with some of his other articles and clothing and the address and stuff that they tied to him.
There's your classic serial killer from the 70s look right there. Yeah.
100%.
Coke bottle glasses. Yeah. Ball cap Dodgers or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gross. Okay.
So it could be as high as 400 that he killed, which would be insane. I will point out that when I talked about that book he kept he was writing the kids' names down. In one thing it did say that it wasn't the names down, but he was writing like a line, a tally for each one that he killed, and they said out of that there was less than 200. So these additional confessions and what the police believe may not be accurate, but again, who's to say?
Right, when your only source is him, and
he
may, his reasons for telling the police could, you know, involve just benefiting himself somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. He currently, thankfully, is imprisoned in a maximum security prison in Colombia, where he is held separately and basically in solitary confinement away from all other prisoners for fear that he would be killed immediately if he was in the general population, just because of, like, crimes against kids.
Yeah.
And I say release that fucker. Put him out in the public, let somebody kill him, because he will be eligible for parole in 2023.
Yeah. Oh, that's not long.
Yeah, that's next year. So angry.
I feel like solitary confinement is so much worse punishment for them. So, like, I agree with your sentiment, but then I'm also like, damn, they're in solitary confinement. That's
I don't think
rough.
he's, like, actually, like, in what we believe as, like, solitary, but he only has contact with other guards and stuff like that, and it said he, like, can't really leave his, like, little area that they let him out into, and then, like, his room. Like, that's all he gets. So,
okay, so more like a normal cell. Like, he's not, like, in the hole where he's, like,
no,
naked
not
with just
in a
a
hole.
bucket.
No, not that bad, but he is very isolated. He'll only have contact with, like, other guards and stuff like that.
I get that. I don't...
Yeah.
You know, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so he'll be eligible for parole next year. In 2023. I don't know when. It said this is when he has served three quarters of his sentence. So
How old would he be, though?
He was born in 1957.
Right.
So
50s, 60s, almost 70, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
Damn.
the
I don't know
last.
how I feel.
Yeah, right?
Sorry.
Yeah. The last thing is just so stupid. I shouldn't have ended it with this.
Oh, bring it on. Now I gotta know.
This was from Wikipedia. It said that Garavito remains hopeful, having expressed to Colombian Senator Carlos Moreno de Caro apparent plans to enter Colombian Congress, enter the ministry as a Pentecostal pastor, and marry a woman. And then it said in brackets, in rejection of his self-admitted homosexuality, in the hopes that he will be able to help abused children upon his release. Which, like, stay away from the children. You've done enough for the children, okay? Yeah.
I'm sorry. He told somebody this elaborate plan?
Yeah, he told a Colombian senator this. Like...
I was following it up until you said, in order to
help the children.
I was like, wait. You lost. I mean, I know that's his ultimate goal, this piece of shit, but like, what?
Yeah, so it does not make sense.
Eligible next year. He's not out yet.
God damn. But, I hope they don't let him out. It said that the good news, at least on that note, is Garavito himself suffers from severe eye cancer, which leaves him weak and fatigued and requires daily blood transfusions. So, I mean, even if he gets out. Yeah, I've never heard of somebody needing daily blood transfusions. That shit's intense.
For cancer? Yeah.
Eye cancer. Ooh, sounds
right.
terrible. I mean, if I was gonna wish eye cancer on anybody, it'd be this guy.
Yeah, only time I would ever say that would be your karmic retribution to have that happen to you.
Yeah.
I feel like...
Just a little bit of eye cancer. That'll be my new thing. If I hate somebody, I'm just gonna say a little bit of eye cancer.
Oh! Yeah, even a little bit freaks me out.
Because it's the eyes.
Yes. And... yeah. I've already had to go see an optometrist to see, because people would be like, you have a little, like, black spot, like, by your eye, but kind of in the pink of it.
Yeah.
Even though people would be like, oh, I thought that was mascara. And I was like, no, it's, like, a discoloration or something. But then, like, had an ophthalmologist check it out, and they were like, Yeah, it basically just looks like a discoloration. We'll just keep an eye on it, but
Yeah.
still, it's just like even having to go get something checked out with my eye, like having my
Yeah.
friend be like, "You should get that checked out." Like even that freaked me out. I was like, "I guess I should, but I'm scared too."
Yeah. Being blind or
Yeah,
anything like that is like my greatest fear. I feel like
that
anything
would be
else I could handle, but just
sure.
blindness, it's so restricting on like everything in your life. I just ah.
Well, like, kudos to the amazing things that blind people
Yeah.
could do, like the blind Christine girl that won the Master Chef and stuff. Like,
Oh
geez,
wow.
that shit is
Yeah.
amazing. But like, yeah, exactly. Especially if it's something where you have a sense and then you were to lose it later in
Yeah.
life. Oh, that would be so hard to deal with. Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
Like Mary in Little House on the Prairie, they all get scarlet fever, and then Mary loses her sight, and she always wanted to be the teacher, and then Laura's like, "Now I have to be a teacher because but
Yeah.
only because she wants her sister Mary to go to the college for the blind." And you're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But oh my god, that would just be insane to deal with.
Yeah. My last thing is
Okay. Bring us back on track. No.
it's literally one more sentence. You ready?
I think so. What could be worse? What could be
Oh,
worse
it's
than
not
what
bad.
you've said already?
Uh just he apparently while he's in prison, he's spending most of his time making handcuffs, earrings, and necklaces in the medical unit. So I think he's probably with like the eye cancer. He's in the medical unit of the prison at this point now. Probably still somewhat
Really?
kept separate, but yeah.
Jewelry?
Yeah,
I
isn't
was
that
kidding when I
strange?
said what could be
Uh,
worse, and then you made it worse. I, I love my jewelry. I don't want to think that it's made by
but
a
he's also making
horrible
handcuffs. Is that
prisoner.
not weird? Like,
Yeah, what? I thought they were just allowed to like make pants and stuff.
yeah. Yeah, I don't
Oh
know.
my god.
Handcuffs. I would not be trusting criminals to make something that they are later to be arrested with.
No, it's
Yeah.
like when you get the criminals to help build the jail, that never goes
Yeah.
well. But it makes for a good story sometimes.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's the end. That's Luis Garavito with all his nicknames and terribleness and I
My God.
just absolute insanity. Um,
I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm sorry we all had to
I'm
hear
sorry you
it.
had to listen. I had to purge it out of my mind. Um,
It does suck though sometimes when people won't cover child cases because it can be difficult, but it does like I'm sure I said it already, but it doesn't mean they have any less reason to be covered.
yeah, I just wish there had been
Yeah.
more, like, with the um, victims or information about them or anything, but I understand because there was just so
Yes.
many of them at this point.
And
Yeah.
because they're juveniles, that
Yeah,
information is always less. Yeah, I do
protect
get
them.
that. Yeah, but then
Yeah.
you definitely have a hard time honoring the victims when you can't.
Yes.
For me, I was like, I can find a list of them. I was like, I'm definitely gonna say it because I hate having to say the frickin' killer's name so many times, and then
Yeah. That's all I did in this.
yeah. Oh well, no, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly. That's how you feel sometimes when all that gets portrayed or repeated is the killer's name. Yeah, it's not cool. It's not fair.
I just like, even if back before he started killing them, if he, like, maybe if he had talked to one of the psychologists more or anything like
Yeah.
that, maybe this all could have been prevented, at least partially in some way.
Yeah, like that mental health is probably the biggest issue facing us
Yeah.
with violent cases so far. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to find a case or something, I'd say, that isn't either linked to, like, mental health or I'd say maybe just like cases of somebody just flat out being greedy.
Sure. Usually
That
with like
might,
a side of alcohol or drugs to
yeah,
impair their judgment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just a side of something to just bring it over the
yeah,
edge, unless they're a real psychopath. But yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
There needs. I'm happy at least. Was it in Canada or Alberta? We got a mental health number, a 3-digit number that you can call now.
Oh, yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
which is good. Stuff like that we need a lot more of, and
Sure. Like a 911
yeah,
for emergencies or the 311, which is more for what, information or
I
like
think so. Yeah,
less less urgent emergencies but still city problems. Yeah, that kind
yeah,
of stuff. Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, same way I agree when they talk about having not just police respond to a scene where someone might need mental health help, but like also, I don't know, a social worker or
yeah.
some type of person.
Yeah, they should be the first ones going in, and police should be there to protect, like, both them and then the person that they're trying to help.
Physically, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Such a tough job. I thought about, being a social worker or something like that. It does sound very interesting, but also kudos to all that do it. It sounds very, very difficult.
yeah, I couldn't do it. As much as I seem detached or joking about stuff, it hits me hard. I couldn't do it.
Sure, yeah.
I'll cry in
Like,
like a soppy movie if somebody is just like getting slightly emotional.
yeah, even cops, you just have to like hear
Yeah.
these stories firsthand and like, yeah, I feel like even that is such a service to be able to listen to someone and hear their story and like be a shoulder to cry on and then just be like, you know what? Yeah, like you're gonna get through this and not break down hearing the story. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that takes a crazy amount of character.
Yeah.
Ugh, crazy.
Yeah. We'll see how long this episode ends up being. Thank you for listening.
Highest kill count and highest no minutes recorded.
Yeah,
No.
it might top the heist baby. Or holy
Ooh,
heist
yeah, that one was
Batman.
like 3 hours. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We'll
It's scary
see.
seeing them on good pods sometimes because they do put it like a movie. Like, movies will be like 93 minutes. So when
Mm.
you see your podcast and it's like 183 minutes, you're like, holy shit. Like that would be like a
No.
3 hour one, right? But then you see, yeah, you even see like 150 minutes. You're like, whoa, we talked for a long time.
Yeah, lately all of our episodes were like 2 hours, and then our last one was like an hour and a half, and now this one's gonna be like 3 hours.
Damn. I love it. I always
Yeah.
am like, eh. It definitely hasn't hurt the success of wine and crime more, and that's why we drink. And they, like, you know what I mean? Like, especially because then that's why we drink has two hosts. So
Yeah.
I consider them, you can't compare apples to oranges, but, right, they're more of a barometric that we can compare ourselves to. And they
Yeah.
do like to, and they do banter. As you
Yeah.
know, I think I told you to listen to them, but like they obviously do talk a little, and it's like yeah. So a lot of theirs are 2 hours, and you know what? That's what it ends up being when you got two great stories sometimes.
Yeah. Especially one about so many murders, serial killers. I can't believe it took us this long to do just like a straight serial killer episode. It's crazy.
I know we like to go against. It's like when someone tells you you'll want to watch the latest movie, and people tell you to, and you're like no.
Yeah. I'll watch it in 2 years and then I'll want to talk about it. By then, you'll have forgotten every detail.
Okay, but they literally just talked about that when I was listening to Smartless with the guest was Ewan McGregor.
Oh my god, I love him.
Right? And they were all talking about how they're like, oh yeah, I'll watch a movie like 10 years after because they're like, I don't want to watch it just because I hear it's good. And then
Yeah.
10 years later, oh shit, did you guys hear about that? Yeah, that was pretty good. I'm glad I watched that. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so we all do that.
Yeah, that's me. I. If somebody. yeah, if too many people tell me to watch something or it's like too big of a thing at the moment, I'll like actively not watch it and be like, I'm cool because I'm not watching it. I'm the only one not watching it. No.
I haven't seen all of Breaking Bad. I kept hearing it was good, and I was just like, I don't really, okay.
I forced myself to watch almost every single episode of that show.
You forced yourself? See, that doesn't seem like a glowing recommendation either.
Yeah. I'd say the only a couple episodes I like actively remember more than like a scene, and one of them was literally just an episode about, I think it was called The Fly, and it was just about a fly that was just bugging them while they were making meth in the underground laundromat. There's like a industrial laundromat above them, and they're in the basement of it, and there's like a fly down there, and it just keeps bugging them. I think the episode was called The Fly.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was just like, that was probably my favorite episode because they're just mad about a fly. So stupid.
Sometimes just because something's got good reviews, like, doesn't mean, if you don't think you're gonna like it, doesn't mean it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
hot take. Let us know, guys. What haven't you watched?
Yes, I would love to know. I haven't watched Tiger King. I have never watched any of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
I would have to say I didn't regret watching Tiger King. If you did have time to watch it, I wasn't like, oh, that was stupid, or then people made it out to be. I was like, okay, that was weird and entertaining. Like when you listen to a podcast about something and you are like, oh, I didn't know. I needed to know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It was just like, it blew up just like way too much, and was like, oh my god, everybody's talking about, now it's getting a new season, oh my god, now it's blah blah.
Yes, like, totally.
It wouldn't die.
And then you're like, I don't want to do it because it's trendy.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, what are we doing next week?
Yes! You get to ask me. We are doing abandoned places.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite subreddits, although on Reddit it's called abandoned porn. Much like on Modern Family, in the one where Claire's looking at stuff and it's like organization porn. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a bunch of abandoned crap. Yeah. Abandoned crap. Yeah. No. You know us, it'll be spooky and creepy for sure.
Yeah, some very cool and interesting looking places that are just left there to kind of decay. And some of them you can go in and look at and visit, which is really cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as long as they're safe, I would be down for it.
Yeah, I would love to tour, like, abandoned, creepy mansions, castles.
Oh, yeah, a part 2 to this one could be abandoned, specifically underground places. Oh my god, so many.
Yeah.
Damn. Alright, well, we'll get to it. Thank you for listening.
Yes. And catch you next week.
That's right. I was just going to say, don't forget to rate and review if you can. I've tried to review and comment on Good Pods lately, and my brother confirmed it's a little glitchy. Like, okay. I noticed if you clicked comments, it just shuts the whole app down. It, like, crashes.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, so it's okay if you can't comment. I haven't been able to comment on Good Pods lately, but if you could review... And on Spotify, you definitely can add 5 stars, which, like, almost 50% of our listeners are still on Spotify. So please, if you haven't rated us on there, give us a little 5-star. And we love you all, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Keep it cryptic. C'est terrible. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Welcome. Oh, sorry. Are we ready?
Yeah.
I just I don't know what it is with me. I must hate dead air or something. I'm like, I have to talk. It's time. No. Okay.
I was just waiting.
Wow.
When you were texting me that, I was just like, can I save it? And then Clean Feed came up with a message being like, X out of this screen and save your recording because you've disconnected. We'll still save your recording. Just make sure you click this button. It's like, oh my god. I was like, I don't want to have to re-record this.
Yeah. All of a sudden you feel like you're disarming a bomb or something.
Yeah.
Click this, or if you don't click this, then it won't save.
No, it's just like,
Okay.
No.
No pressure.
Alright. This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and our YouTube channel. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers and become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. We are working on an Ask Us Anything. You can submit questions by social media or by email at castlesandcryptids@gmail.com. Do you have a spooky ghost story, a creepy cryptid sighting, or a thrilling true crime tale you would like to share and have us include in a future episode? Send us your listener story by social media or by email. Please include the name that you would like mentioned. Our music is by Kobe Fair. Our logo and artwork is by Antonio Garcia. Thanks for listening.